After school one day, I met a god. He asked me, a perfect score of 750 on the college entrance exam or 75 million, which would you choose? Is that even a choice? Hesitating for even a second would be an insult to the 75 million. With 75 million, who the hell would still take the college entrance exam? But I chose the 750 points. And it was all because of something that happened the day before the exam. I was scrolling and came across a post. The op was asking whether to choose 75 million in cash or a perfect score on the college entrance exam. I saw it was another one of those stupid questions, so I immediately got on my keyboard and started flaming them. All you people do is ask, which would you choose? If I choose, are you gonna give it to me? But to my surprise, the op actually told me to just make a choice and see what happens. That made me laugh. Is this even a choice? Nowadays, college graduates are a dime a dozen. 75 million could get me 10,000 college grads working for me. Unless I was guaranteed a perfect score on the exam. Being the top scorer wouldn't be so bad. The op replied instantly again, saying all I had to do was choose. Take the college entrance exam, and you're guaranteed a perfect score. Plus, you'll gain brand new problem-solving skills. But you can't tell anyone, or the ability will disappear. It all sounded so out there, but I casually replied, if it's for real. Then I choose the perfect score on the college entrance exam. If I could be the top scorer, 18 generations of my ancestors would jump out of their graves to celebrate for me. Then I tossed my phone aside and went to sleep. Until the next day, the proctor handed out the exam papers. I only took one look and immediately felt a jolt run through my body. The answers to these questions started flooding out of my mind like crazy. Or to be more precise, for the questions I didn't know how to solve before, all it took was a single glance. And the perfect answer would just appear in my head. I held my breath. Then I realized that my handwriting, which used to be chicken scratch, now looked like it was written by a master calligrapher. My eyes widened. This has to be for the penmanship score. Otherwise, even if I copied the standard answers word for word, they'd still have to dock a point or two for presentation. So I answered the questions as fast as I could and turned in my paper. After leaving the exam hall, I took out a pen and paper to test my handwriting. I wrote down the words, "I'm so handsome." The handwriting was still impeccable. With handwriting this good, I could easily become a pretty famous calligrapher. This discovery made me ecstatic. The language arts exam alone gave me such an incredible skill. 75 million was nothing compared to this. When I took the math exam that afternoon, my performance was godlike again. For every single problem, hundreds of solutions would instantly flash through my mind. Many of the solutions were even beyond my comprehension. They were methods that didn't even exist on our planet. After the math exam was over, the hall was filled with cries of despair. Oh my god, that last question. I just looked it up. That was a calculus problem. Are the people who wrote this year's test insane? In the following exams, I continued to breeze through everything. My mind was filled with a plethora of world-changing skills. When I was the first one to rush out of the exam hall, the other students were all stunned. Did that kid just turn in a blank paper? But I paid no mind to their gossip, leaving them with nothing but the back of a mysterious figure. 2 days later, thousands of top teachers were sitting in front of their computers, grading the exams at top speed. Chen Chu, the head of the Southwest grading team, patrolled back and forth. He kept emphasizing that there could not be a single grading error, because one mistake could affect a student's entire life. No sooner had the words left his mouth than one of the graders shot up from his seat. Chen Chu immediately snapped, "What do you think you're doing? Don't you know to be quiet?" The grader, Sha Chushui, looked at team leader Chen, completely shocked. "You have to come see this. I think this is a perfect score essay." Everyone was instantly stunned. "We've only just started, and there's already a perfect score essay?" Chen Chu leaned in, studying the computer carefully. With just one glance, his whole expression changed. "This handwriting is incredible. Even if the content was a pile of dog crap, I'd still have to give it 20 points. He took another look at the content. Chen Chu felt goosebumps rise all over his skin. This student, using just over 1,000 words, had captured all the glory and sorrow of China's history. He suddenly yelled, Reported immediately. It's possible that this year's first perfect score essay will come from our group." A few days later, the math grading began. A teacher suddenly exclaimed that there was a problem with the test paper. All the answers were correct. The problem-solving methods were completely incomprehensible. This exact scene repeated itself during the next few gradings. When the Gaokao scores were finally announced, just as I expected, I got a perfect score. Number 1 in the country. The news sent shockwaves everywhere. My classmates fell to their knees, roaring that the heavens must be blind. How could a slacker like me, who was always skipping studies, secretly be a top student who was grinding like crazy behind everyone's back? But even more shocked than my classmates were the professors on the exam review board. They couldn't understand just how I had managed to solve those math problems. The world had never seen these kinds of solutions before. Instantly, top figures from all fields pulled out their phones, wanting to get ahead of the other universities. Send me an admission offer. At that moment, my parents were beyond stunned. Honey, did you see the news? A graduating student named Lu Chuan got a perfect score. He has the exact same name as our son. When I heard that, I calmly strolled out of my bedroom. Is there any chance that this Lu Chuan is me? When I took out my phone to check my score, the 750-point result nearly blinded them. My dad stood there, stunned for a long while. Suddenly, he bolted out the door. I'm going to see if our ancestral graves have exploded. I quickly stopped my parents and told them I wasn't planning on going to university, because I planned to challenge the exam committee and make them increase the test's difficulty. Then I'll publicly announce that I'm taking the Gaokao again next year. For other people, the Gaokao is for getting into a university. But for me, Gaokao is for improving myself. Every time I take the Gaokao, I can acquire the scientific knowledge corresponding to the exam questions and become a top mathematician or physicist. I vaguely remember how some shameless countries, in order to suppress our nation's rise, used all sorts of technological blockades. If I can get those blockaded technical topics to appear on the Gaokao papers, then wouldn't everything be easily solved? Of course, I can't tell anyone about this. After I promised I would go to university after taking the Gaokao the second year, my parents reluctantly agreed to my plan. The next day, a huge crowd of reporters swarmed our home, wanting to investigate everything about me. With them were the heads of several of the country's top universities. Before anything even started, they were already bickering, preparing to fight over me. Just as the three of us were about to leave, we were completely bewildered by the massive crowd at our door. The university deans all rushed forward, surrounding my parents. They made offers that were hard to even imagine. Some offered free tuition, a local residency permit, and some even offered a monthly living allowance of 30,000. Not to be outdone, spared no expense and offered to set me up with my own private laboratory, with 300,000 in annual research funding. And that's whether I attended their Southwest College or not. The money would be available no matter what. The moment they said that, the representatives from Gawu and Shengtong universities started to panic. That old fox is playing dirty, isn't he? We only offer money if he enrolls. And you're just telling him you'll pay him whether he comes or not, and still give him the money. However, what I said next made everyone in the room want to curse me out. Distinguished teachers, I've already made my decision. I'm going to repeat for 1 year. Everyone's heads were spinning. What in the world was happening? A swarm of reporters, as if they'd scented a huge story, came swarming over. Student Lu Chuan, as the top scorer with a perfect score, can you tell us why you're foregoing university? My eyes lit up. That was the exact question I was waiting for, because the questions from this year's exam committee were just too easy. I got a perfect score without even using half of my ability. Once the interview aired, the entire nation erupted, especially the students who were set to take the college entrance exam the following year. They flamed me so hard I started trending. Is this guy insane? Can't he just be a normal person? Meanwhile, the experts on the exam committee were absolutely furious. This is just way too arrogant. Does he really think that's all our exam committee is capable of? After the interview, the prize money I received from various provincial organizations totaled up to 1.5 million. After the story aired, public opinion exploded once again. Netizens were all saying they finally understood why I wasn't going to college. With scores like his, couldn't he just take the test again next year and easily rake in another million? But I paid no attention to all these online haters, because I had a date with the campus beauty, Yin Wenwen. We'd had a secret crush on each other back in school, but she'd always held back because she wanted to focus on the exam. Now that I was the top scorer, it was only natural for us to make our relationship official. A year went by in a flash, and so, the day of the college entrance exam arrived the following year. The moment I arrived at the testing center, countless reporters rushed to interview me. Student Lu Chuan, taking the college entrance exam for the second time, what score do you expect to get? I just smiled, shook my head, and said, I guess I'll reluctantly settle for a perfect score. The reporter was instantly ecstatic. He already had the headline figured out. Perfect score genius retakes exam, vows to ace it again. A second reporter quickly chimed in, last year, you provoked the exam committee. It made the experts furious. This year's test is supposed to be much harder than last year's, causing a lot of students to complain bitterly. Let me ask you, was there some kind of misunderstanding? No misunderstanding. I'm not targeting the exam committee. I'm saying that everyone here is trash. The reporters were dumbfounded. This kid's arrogance knew no bounds. And seeing the beautiful girl who was standing by my side, one reporter blurted out, excuse me, Lu Chuan. Who is this lovely lady next to you? I didn't hide it. I took Yin Wenwen's hand and openly declared, she's my girlfriend. Sure enough, the reporters figured gossip was still news. They whipped out their cameras and the shutters started clicking like crazy. A photo like this could boost their article's click-through rate by dozens of percentage points. Soon, the college entrance exam began as scheduled, and my theory was proven perfectly correct. As soon as I read a question, the answer would just pop into my head. And there was zero worry about making a mistake. In fact, this time, I even decided to use a different writing style. My calligraphy was still masterful enough to establish its own school of art. The two exam proctors kept glancing over at me, seeing me writing so furiously, barely pausing for a moment. He couldn't help but feel curious, so he stood up and began patrolling the exam hall. When he saw my test paper, he was absolutely mesmerized. He stood there dazed. How could a mere 19-year-old possess such skill? This year's exam committee had a secret weapon. They required students to continue the story of Dream of the Red Chamber. It had to be at least 600 words. The proctor happened to be a huge fan of the book himself. He knew just how impossible this task was. Countless people had tried, but none could ever match the original's brilliance. They all lacked that specific charm. So, when he saw me start writing without even a moment's thought, his expression kept shifting. By the time I had filled the entire page with my words, his heart felt like it was being scratched by a cat. He was dying to read more. When the other students saw me turning in my paper early again, they all rolled their eyes. Not this show-off again. Would he die if he stopped acting like such an attention seeker? A few days later, the college entrance exam ended, and the grading team began their work. The teachers all felt that they weren't qualified enough to grade my essay. Out of options, they reported it to their superiors and asked for a panel of experts to review it. After reading my paper, Zhang Menglin, a giant in the literary world, stared with wide eyes. Where's the rest of it? This obviously isn't finished yet. How could it just end here? He looked so intense, it was like he was about to snap at someone. As a veteran fan of the series, he saw hope that the Dream of the Red Chamber could finally be completed. But the exam only provided a tiny bit of paper. Chen Chu from the grading team hurried to calm him down. This isn't a literary seminar, he said, before cautiously asking Zhang Menglin. So, what score should we give him? Zhang Menglin felt drained. He slumped onto the sofa and uttered, full marks. A few days later, the grading was finished, and the exam results were released. To no one's surprise, I was the top scorer in the country again. Online trolls immediately started screaming about a conspiracy. Investigate him. A full score for a Red Chamber sequel? That's impossible. How could an essay like that ever get a perfect score? They demanded that my essay be made public. Seeing the uproar, the Ministry of Education simply released my essay to the public. The article was quickly reposted across all major platforms. Once netizens read it, they were stunned. A 19-year-old kid actually wrote this? Countless fans of the book practically begged me for a sequel. They had waited so long for this moment. Public opinion flipped instantly. Armies of fans swarmed in to clash with the trolls. Then, the calligraphy expert stepped in, declaring that my handwriting was a masterpiece of its own style. If he lived in ancient times, he'd be a legendary scholar. But what really brought things to a climax was when Zhang Menglin from the Red Chamber Association showed up at my door with reporters. He hoped I would continue serializing the Dream of the Red Chamber. Name your price, he said, because as of now, no one but me could truly finish the story. Seeing how stressed these elderly experts were, I reluctantly agreed. After picking up a pen and paper, right in front of everyone, I started from the 81st chapter and wrote all the way to the end. Zhang Menglin held the manuscript as if it were a priceless treasure, sitting in the middle of the sofa. Please, let us publish this. Whatever your conditions are, our association will do its best to meet them. But I just calmly shook my head. Writing is meant to be read. Let's just follow the standard publishing process. However, I do need you to do me a small favor. Zhang Menglin was in high spirits. She told me to just name my price, as long as it was something she could do. She wouldn't hesitate for a second. But what she never expected was this. My request was for her to tell the exam committee to make next year's college entrance exam questions as difficult as humanly possible. Zhang Menglin stared at me, her words catching in her throat. Just how hard do you want those questions to be? Why are you so obsessed with picking a fight with the entrance exam? She was complaining non-stop in her head, but she didn't dare say it out loud. She could only reluctantly say she'd give it a try. After that, both sides came to a decision. The sequel to Dream of the Red Chamber would be bought out for 50 million yuan. At the same time, a video of me demanding a harder entrance exam went viral across the entire internet. The whole world started attacking me, and the relevant authorities issued an immediate response. They slammed me for being too arrogant and not understanding that the sea of knowledge has no limits. But to everyone's surprise, 3 days later, the sequel was officially released. It sold out the moment it hit the shelves. It was like a massive slap to the face, instantly silencing all the trolls. Meanwhile, Yin Tianxi, one of the country's top financial tycoons, was clutching the book and weeping silently. Lu Chuan, this boy, he writes so incredibly well for someone so young. He immediately told his secretary to look into this Lu Chuan. A moment later, the secretary sent over an interview video. When Yin Tianxi saw his daughter, Yin Wenwen, appear on screen, His eyes nearly popped out of his head and his jaw hit the floor. The secretary standing nearby thought the chairman was about to lose his temper and instinctively backed away. But Yin Tianxi finally spoke up. This brat, after all this. He still hasn't come to pay his respects to me, his future father-in-law. He then told the secretary to clear his schedule, so he could go see his daughter. Not long after, Yin Wenwen and her father were having dinner together at a high-end hotel. Yin Tianxi's face turned grim. Lu Chuan is your boyfriend, isn't he? Knowing how overbearing her father could be, Yin Wenwen hurriedly started explaining just how talented and amazing I was. And how hard I worked. Yin Tianxi reached out and cut her off. Hardworking? You're the one who needs to work hard. Otherwise, how could you ever be worthy of my wonderful son-in-law? You should start calling him husband from now on. Yin Wenwen was completely shell-shocked. What on earth is going on? He poured a glass of warm water for her and told her to stop being so tense. Rolling his eyes, he said, "It's not as complicated as you're making it." "That's right, I approve of this son-in-law. But there is one condition." "What condition?" Yin Wenwen didn't believe it for a second and became extremely cautious. Yin Tianxi was speechless. Raising a daughter is like losing a daughter. You're already siding with him against your own father, aren't you? Look, even though I approve of the guy, he's already won my daughter's heart. Shouldn't he give me, his future father-in-law, some kind of introductory gift? What exactly do you want? Oh, the gift is nothing big. It's just, Yin Tianxi gave a dry cough. Didn't he write that sequel to Red Chamber? Could you get me that original manuscript he wrote by hand? Yin Wenwen's first instinct was that something was fishy. She knew exactly what her old man was like. I have my reasons, just tell me if you'll do it or not. Yin Tianxi said stubbornly. Yin Wenwen told him she couldn't make that decision on her own. I have to ask him first. Well, go ahead and ask then. Yin Tianxi agreed immediately, but as she turned to leave, he hurriedly called out, "Hey, make sure you use a nice tone. Whatever you do, don't you dare upset my wonderful son-in-law." Yin Wenwen suddenly felt like she definitely wasn't his biological daughter. When we got home, Yin Ruchu told me what happened. I just shook my head and smiled when I heard. I didn't think her uncle would find out. As for the Red Chamber, I gave that to you a long time ago. And since it's yours now, who you give it to or what you do with it is your business. I don't have any say in it. I pulled Yin Ruchu into my arms and gave her a kiss. And I continued, you really don't have to be like this. We're equals, aren't we? Yes, we are, but I still have to get your permission. She sighed in relief. She returned the gesture with a sweet kiss. But I'm so glad you agreed. Now there's nothing standing between us. After that, Yin Ruchu and I went to see my father-in-law. At first, everything was going well, but then my father-in-law suddenly cleared his throat. Oh, right. When are you two going to get your marriage license? Asterisk peeved. Yin Wenwen sprayed the tea she had just sipped all over Yin Tianxi. Dad, I'm kind of busy, too. I knew I had unintentionally won over my father-in-law, but I didn't realize I'd won him over so completely. Sir, we're only 19 years old. Oh, right, look at me. Yin Tianxi slapped his forehead. You're not old enough yet. But, we can have the wedding banquet first, right? When can we arrange a meeting with your parents, pick an auspicious date, and get this done? Dad, Ruchu said, getting anxious. What father is in such a rush to marry off his daughter? Although, secretly, she was more than willing. But you're the father, you can't just say that. But Yin Tianxi just gave her a gentle wave of his hand. He gestured for her to be patient. Asterisk of course I know this isn't the best way to do things. But with a son-in-law this good, if I don't lock him down quickly, what if something happens? What if someone else snatches him away? Hearing that, I was momentarily at a loss for words. After doing my best to calm down the enthusiastic father-in-law, I made up an excuse and dragged Wenwen out of there. Then, not long after, the college entrance exam scores were announced again. After I got another perfect score on the exam, all the top universities started extending offers. But I rejected them one by one, even claiming that the exam questions were too simple. I said I hoped that for the next exam, the expert panel who writes the questions would try a little harder. Because I want to use this method of exam grinding to help the country make breakthroughs in technologies that are currently being sanctioned. But I can't tell anyone this, or my special ability will disappear. Because of this, people online thought I was way too arrogant and even showed up at my house to confront me. If it were the old me, maybe I'd care, but my perspective has expanded now. I took the 50 million I earned from writing, Dream of the Red Chamber, and bought a villa. I cut myself off from the world, until a piece of extremely grim news broke. A British model YH739 passenger plane has lost contact. 261 passengers from the nation of Tang are missing. If only the exam committee would step up their game and let me unlock some new skills. Finding the wreckage of that missing plane probably wouldn't be too difficult. At the same time, the Ministry of Education issued a notice regarding this year's college entrance exam. They made several important changes. First, the exam questions must be more modern and relevant. Second, restrictions on the answer sheets will be lifted. With those abrupt changes, the Tang Nation's 2013 college entrance exam soon began. I could keenly feel the sharp glares from the students on either side of me. After all, I was the one who single-handedly forced them to raise the exam's difficulty. But the angrier they got, the happier I was. Who knows, maybe in a few decades, some of them might have become part of the committee that writes the college entrance exam, while I'll still be here taking it. As the students filed in, the proctors arrived as well. After the test papers were handed out, both the students and the proctors looked at me with a hint of anxiety. I just ignored them. I started on the exam. The first part of the language section was a breeze, but I was pretty disappointed when I saw the essay topic: how to optimize postpartum care for sows. It wasn't an easy essay to write, but the difficulty was nothing special. Then, I picked up the math test hopefully, only to be disappointed again. The difficulty was only a little higher than last year's. Luckily, on the second day, assuming flight YH739 has crashed, please use your knowledge of physics to analyze the location of the crash site. This was a bonus question, worth only 1 point. When all the other students saw it, their scalps went numb, but me? I just chuckled. The time to serve my country had finally arrived. That's when I noticed the new information appearing in my mind. It could only be described as a massive flood of data. There was even the technology to build a next-generation nuclear submarine that could dive to a depth of 20,000 meters. In that moment, I was trembling with excitement. Just for this one question, I was given so much technology. I'd hit the jackpot. Suddenly, a thought struck me. Could this be what's needed to find the plane's wreckage? But in the real world, the investigation hadn't yielded any results yet. After the exam was over, all the students were discussing the crash site, but everyone had a different theory. There was no single correct answer. 2 weeks later, the exam scores were released. Just as I thought, I got 749 points. I clearly wrote down the right answer, but they didn't give me full marks. No matter, I'll just have to prove it myself. Meanwhile, on the internet, everyone was mocking me, saying I was a has-been. A reporter, Wang Bingbing, wanting to let the public know my side of the story, came to my house to do a special live interview. She was extremely professional. Her voice was very pleasant, too. Less than 30 seconds after going live, there were over 1 million viewers. The first question she asked me was, "How do you feel you performed on the exam this year?" I answered calmly, "A solid performance, just 1 point shy of perfect." But the live comments started flooding in with insults. "The study god? Only 749. You talk so big, so how come you didn't get a perfect score?" I looked at the viewers' comments and replied to the one who asked that question. "Excuse me, but who told you I didn't get a perfect score?" Wang Bingbing and the entire audience were stunned. "Who told us? Does anyone even need to tell us?" The official results were announced. The highest score in the country was 749. Could it possibly be any higher? Hearing this, I said, "The grading committee made a mistake." I gave them the correct answer, but they didn't even bother to verify it. If I find the crash site, it'll prove my answer was correct. My statement made the entire internet explode. The exam committee, who were in the middle of a celebration banquet, had one member who happened to be watching the live stream. When he saw it, all hell broke loose. He really dares to say that. Was this Lu Chuan a pair of underpants in his past life? How can he be such a show-off? At that moment, I stared straight into the camera and calmly said, "The missing airliner is at the deepest point of the Shigorya Trench." Wang Bingbing froze for a second, but she quickly recovered. "It's about that trench, the deepest one in the world. He just said he'd go and prove it himself. Could he really go down 20,000 meters to the seabed?" After the interview, the entire internet laughed at me for losing my mind. But what they didn't know was, while I may not have the ability to build a submarine, my father-in-law, Yin Tianchi, is no slouch. On the third day, Yin Wenwen and I flew to Shenzhen, a city where many large shipbuilding companies are located. When he heard I was starting a company for scientific research, he immediately gifted me an entire building for me to use as a laboratory. So, in front of all my employees, I announced that the company's first project would be to build a new type of submersible and retrieve the plane from the trench. When news of the new project spread, the internet went wild. Some people even attacked me, saying I was using the plane crash for publicity. But netizens quickly found out that my company actually held hundreds of patents. Even those advanced corporations overseas were completely shocked by this technology. Finally, on the third month since Future Tech was founded, the submersible's assembly was complete. It was ready for water testing, since it can travel deep underwater. As if entering an uninhabited realm, we'll call it the water god, the Gonggong. As the engine started, the descent speed quickly reached 78 knots. A test operator exclaimed, "We're supposed to be diving. How are we already on the highway? It's like water resistance doesn't even exist." Just then, the submersible sent back a warning. It had detected a submarine lurking in the area. I immediately ordered a scan of the submarine's data. At the same time, on the surface, 3 destroyers were carrying out a mission when they suddenly received a signal from the seabed. Who is scanning me? We've been targeted. Where are they? Find them immediately. But despite using all kinds of sonar and radar to search, they found nothing. At that moment, the destroyer's communications officer suddenly reported, "Sir, we've received a communication request from them." Captain Shu Hong let out a sigh of relief. This probably isn't a submarine from a hostile nation, or they wouldn't have contacted us. Immediately, we reported the unexpected discovery made during our submersible's test. "Captain, a foreign submarine is lurking in our territorial waters." After the destroyers received the detailed coordinates, Captain Shu Hong immediately gave the order to go fishing. At that moment, inside the British submarine, Commander Ace said with a laugh, "The Tang nation's radar technology is so backward. We can move wherever we want, and they can't even find us." But suddenly, 3 red dots appeared on the radar. Ace suddenly realized, his expression changing drastically. "We're surrounded. How did the Tang nation's backward equipment find us?" But just as they started their engines and tried to flee, they found themselves firmly trapped by an anti-submarine net. I didn't bother with the rest. The test lasted a full 3 days, and the Gonggong's performance was nothing short of perfect. Future Tech announced an expedition to the bottom of the Shigoria Trench to search for the plane wreckage, and that the entire process would be live-streamed. The internet was instantly in an uproar. After the official live stream room went online, a massive number of netizens flooded in. In less than 10 minutes, the number of viewers had already surpassed 5 million. As the hatch closed and it sank into the ocean, the Gonggong began its descent at an incredible speed. Once the depth surpassed 8,000 meters, the surrounding marine life became extremely scarce. Soon after, more and more heavyweights began to appear. Even the Tang National Aerospace Group expressed their hope to cooperate with me. Suddenly, on the live stream, a giant dark shadow appeared, moving at a steady speed behind the Gonggong. When the submersible turned around, everyone finally got a clear look at what kind of creature it was. It was a massive shark, nearly 20 meters long. With a mouth full of fangs, it was absolutely horrifying. With a smile, I ignored the worried comments and pressed a red button. A purple light shot out from the bottom of the submersible, and the megalodon instantly disintegrated into a cloud of blood in the sea. British Naval Command watched the live stream, completely stunned. They couldn't believe the power of the railgun technology. Immediately dispatched 3 aircraft carriers to retrieve the Tang nation's submersible. It wasn't just the British. Tang nation's own Admiral Shu Hong also received his orders. "Scramble the entire fleet, full speed ahead. We cannot let it fall into British hands." But I, deep beneath the sea, was oblivious to all of this, still heading for the deepest part of the trench. A short while later, the wreckage of an airplane appeared on my monitor. Viewers were stunned. The missing airliner had really crashed here. Just as everyone online was celebrating, an internal message popped up. A message from the Tang Nation Navy. "At present, warships and submarines from various nations have gathered above the trench. They have hostile intentions towards the Gonggong 1. The Tang Nation Navy is currently in a standoff with them and will do everything possible to guarantee the safety of myself and the Gonggong 1. The moment this was announced, the viewers in the livestream chat were horrified. What's going on? Are they really going to start a war? Meanwhile, on the surface, the international fleet suddenly picked up speed. Shu Hong was furious and shocked. "We absolutely must not fire the first shot. The consequences would be dire." He gave the order, "Do anything but open fire. Avoid the enemy ships at all costs." Inside the Gonggong 1, I was filled with rage as well. An idea sparked in my mind. Give me 3 years, and the Tang nation's fleet will dominate the seas. At the same time, I felt a deep sorrow and pain. If they actually collide, and our soldiers are hurt because of this, they will pay for it with their blood. On the surface, a massive battle was about to erupt. The sound of various interceptor weapons roared. They frantically intercepted the incoming missiles, but the disparity in power was too great. Shu Hong's fleet wouldn't last 3 minutes. Just then, in a naval command center, an old general roared, "Get the Dongfeng Express ready. If they don't cease fire in 10 seconds, we will retaliate, no matter the cost." Meanwhile, urgent alarms suddenly blared inside the foreign warships. Their commanders screamed, "Cease fire. Retreat. We've got a lock on from the Dongfeng Express." And because of this incident, the submarine I developed had industry titans flocking to me, placing 30 billion in orders at once, all seeking to partner up. Now that I had the money, it was time to show off. I proudly announced that all employee salaries would be tripled. Weekends off, anyone who works overtime gets fired. The janitor, Auntie Chen, was thrilled at the thought of earning 20,000 a month. Just then, some expert came out with an article claiming that high wages are bad for motivating young people to work hard. When I saw this news, I publicly declared that Future Tech has plenty of money, and that all ambitious people are welcome to join. This move caused a complete 180 from the public. Even those who had been cursing me out before started becoming fans. Lu Chuan, you are my god. The college entrance exam creators owe Lu Chuan his perfect score. The head of the committee, Wu Jianjun, had once confidently stated that no one could get a perfect score. That is, until I went to see. After I proved my point, he was left completely and utterly humiliated. A sudden rage burned within Wu Jianjun. I refused to believe it. For next year's college entrance exam, I'll give him a mathematical conjecture to solve. Let's see if that Lu Chuan can solve that. Meanwhile, I was meeting with Admiral Wu Kui. He hoped future technology could work closely with the military to develop an aircraft carrier battle group even better than the UK's. As long as I agreed, I could name any price. They even offered me a colonel's rank in the military. After hearing the military's proposal, I broke out in a cold sweat. They really thought highly of me. But the problem is, I honestly don't know how to build an aircraft carrier. As my thoughts raced, I proposed 2 conditions. Elder Wu, as you know, I take the college entrance exam every year. For next year's exam, I need the military to pull a few strings. Put a question about aircraft carriers on the test, and I'll answer it. Elder Wu was momentarily speechless. What kind of bizarre request is this? Our military research institute has a budget of hundreds of billions every year. Is all that worth less than answering an exam question? I admit, I was taking a gamble, but it would be a waste not to seize such a great opportunity. Fortunately, Elder Wu eventually agreed to my request. They would put a related question on next year's college entrance exam. I struck while the iron was hot, and proposed my second condition. If I can successfully solve the aircraft carrier problem, I want you, Elder Wu, to help me get a weapons research and production license. After some discussion, the military representatives left. The future technology assistant couldn't help but ask Elder Wu, "Why did you agree to Lu Chuan?" Elder Wu said with a profound look, "Hasn't the college entrance exam been reformed? If we, the military, propose a 1-point question, the Ministry of Education will definitely do us that favor. If Lu Chuan can really help our Navy out of its predicament, forget 1 arms license. 30 would be no problem." I watched Elder Wu's back as he walked away, praying that the next exam would have something really difficult, like a Thanos attack. How should Blue Star counterattack? That way, I could solve everything in one go, and dominate the galaxy. Soon after, the military found the head of the exam committee, Wu Jianjun. The military representative explained their purpose, hoping the committee could add a question to the physics paper. A 1-point extended response question. When Wu Jianjun saw the question the military provided, he cursed inwardly, thinking the military must be insane. If someone could answer this, it would benefit all of humanity. But how the hell is a high school student supposed to solve it? But the military representative said their superiors had already approved it. This was a mission, not a suggestion. Wu Jianjun had no choice but to agree. Soon, my 4th college entrance exam was about to begin. This time, I would become a legend. When I arrived at the exam hall, it was already swarming with reporters. People were even placing bets online on whether I could get another perfect score. When the exam started, the language, math, and foreign language sections were all unremarkable. The other students smiled. It seemed like there wouldn't be any curveballs this year. But when they got to the comprehensive science paper, the last biology question was actually about cancer. Specifically, how to cure it. Their minds went completely blank. Countless experts have tried for years with no success, and now you're asking us, a bunch of high school students? What makes you think we're qualified to answer a question like this? But I just wrote 3 big words on my paper. I can cure it. Then I added the general concept for the treatment. The question didn't specify the type of cancer, so I couldn't outline a precise method. In the afternoon, when the physics papers were handed out, the students immediately started cursing. "Proctor, come take a look at this. What kind of question is this? They want us to outline a research path for future unlimited energy." Just then, a sharp pain shot through my brain, and suddenly, the entire technology for controllable nuclear fusion appeared in my mind. This was unbelievable. Both of these technologies. This means the era of infinite energy for the Tang Nation is about to begin. By then, the Tang Nation's enemy won't be a mere country like Britain, but the Trisolarans. Then, I raised my hand to signal the proctor, asking him to bring me some more answer sheets. The teacher casually asked how many I wanted. 200 sheets, my voice echoed in the classroom. Everyone looked at me in disbelief. "Lu Chuan, are you planning to write out the manufacturing process for a nuclear bomb?" And now, it was time for me to show off. What the proctor saw next was something he would never forget for the rest of his life. I had a pen in my right hand, and another in my mouth. I started working on 3 answer sheets at once, and my writing speed was so fast it was just a blur. This time, I didn't turn in my paper early. I didn't stop until the very moment the bell rang. When I turned in my stack of over 200 answer sheets, every other student had only one thought in their mind. Is this guy even human? The 2 proctors were also stunned when they collected my paper. Because written on my physics answer sheets was, the research and development of controllable nuclear fusion. Suddenly, the doors to the exam hall were thrown open, and a group of fully armed soldiers rushed in. The man in the lead was a scholarly-looking soldier. He stated that my answer sheets were now considered a state secret. His superiors had already approved a military takeover. At that moment, at a certain military headquarters, Wu Kui waved his hand, ordering an entire special forces brigade to surround the conference building. After the answer sheets arrived, no one was to leave the building without his command. Anyone who tried would be shot on sight. As the researchers carefully examined the answer sheets, they went into a frenzy, as if they'd gone mad with joy. My God, this is controllable nuclear fusion technology. If this is proven to be real, we'll be 500 years ahead of Britain. But why would this information be written on an exam paper? Is the college entrance exam this wild nowadays? A few days later, I decided to create a company to research and develop nuclear energy. The same time, Wu Kui heard about it and showed up unannounced. He came on behalf of the military, bringing a license to deal in arms. He also stated that the military was investing in the nuclear energy project. And so, with the cooperation of several powerful figures, a $1 trillion energy enterprise was born. According to Wu Kui's idea, once we master nuclear fusion, we can just skip right to the final step, building a space carrier. But then Li Chengxuan started running his mouth again, saying a few words about whether the content was even real. Unfortunately for him, no one paid him any attention. The experts had all gone completely wild. To the layman, it's just a spectacle. But to an expert, it's a revelation. Even though they had only seen less than 1% of the material, they could be certain this was definitely not nonsense. Everything was traceable and logical. In other words, based on the information they had so far, this was real. It's nuclear fusion. This is freaking controllable nuclear fusion technology. As researchers, as professionals who have been in this field for decades, and yet haven't even fully mastered nuclear fission, how could we not go crazy when we suddenly see the technology for nuclear fusion? Verify it, quickly. Where's my pen? Where's my paper? We must. Chapter 77, you take this. It's real. Controllable nuclear fusion. We must protect all of this information at all costs. The supercomputer. I need to request access to the supercomputer. I don't think we have enough people. Hey, you, old Wu, old Li. Get on the phone and request more personnel, now. The few experts and scholars we have here aren't nearly enough. Get every nuclear expert in the country transferred over to us, immediately. I'm not sleeping from this moment on, I swear. Holy cow, old Zhang. You're over 70, are you trying to kill yourself? This is a job for me. Someone, hey, you, go and get my things, quickly. Starting today, I'll be eating and sleeping here. Wu Kui, Li Chenggang, Zhou Haiyang, Luo Wen, and the rest of you, understood? Usually you're all so gentle and polite. It turns out it was all an act. This is your true nature, isn't it? So we've all just become, hey, you, now? The corner of Wu Kui's mouth twitched as he looked toward Luo Wen. Luo Wen blinked. What are you looking at? Wu Kui scolded with a laugh. Now hurry up and do it. At that moment, he was incredibly excited inside. He didn't understand the technology himself, but these experts did. Since they were this excited, what did that mean? Wasn't it obvious enough? The entire conference room instantly erupted with activity. Every answer sheet in their hands was a priceless treasure, with the exception of the first one. Since it was answers to conventional questions, no one paid it any mind. So they casually tossed it aside, once they confirmed that the other answer sheets were, 9 times out of 10, truly materials on controlled nuclear fusion technology. They all went into a frenzy, desperately pushing to get closer. Zhang Xianji, who was clearly the chief expert, was old and frail. So he just couldn't push his way in. He finally managed to squeeze in halfway, only to be shoved back out. He was so angry he nearly cursed out loud, "You sons of bitches. You're all so respectful to me usually. So you're just going to cast me aside now that you're done with me, is that it? All of you, get out of my way. Let me in, I need to see." But by now, everyone had gone mad. No one was listening to him. He was so furious he stomped his feet, his beard trembling wildly. But there was still nothing he could do. And it was at this very moment that he saw the first answer sheet that no one had bothered with, and he casually picked it up for a look. The first page was nothing special. The second page wasn't either. Just then, Zhang Xianji suddenly exclaimed in shock, "What the hell is this? 15. See you curing cancer? What?" As soon as he said that, Wu Kui was also stunned. Curing cancer? What does that mean? It's written on the answer sheet. Zhang Xianji came closer and handed it to Wu Kui and the others. "You guys, look at this." Wu Kui was completely dumbfounded. My goodness, the exam committee is also pulling a stunt. How to cure cancer? They actually dared to ask a question like this? And Li Chenggang was just criticizing others. You're not much better, are you? So, what about this answer? After a brief moment of bewilderment, Wu Kui looked at Zhang Xianji. The latter frowned slightly. My main focus is in nuclear physics. I don't know much about biochemistry, and when it comes to medicine, I'm a complete amateur. But I can say for certain, given the current level of medical science, curing cancer is nearly impossible, especially in the mid to late stages. With the exception of a few specific types of cancer, it's almost always a death sentence. And even if you could cure it, it couldn't possibly be this simple, right? Traditional Chinese medicine, yin and yang, the 5 elements. This is too much like hocus pocus. It's unscientific, there's no theory like this. What shocked him was that this kind of question even existed, not how good the answer was. By the way, why? Would this information be written on a college entrance exam answer sheet? Because this is this year's college entrance exam question. At Wu Kui's response, Zhang Xianji was stunned. This year's college entrance exam question. Are the exams this intense nowadays? This isn't just a little intense, it's damn wild. It is a bit wild. Wu Kui's mouth twitched slightly. When did the college entrance exam get so wild? It seems to have started when Lu Chuan burst onto the scene. The second year was still okay. That was just about writing a sequel to Dream of the Red Chamber. But starting from last year's exam, it was already getting weird. This year is even more outrageous. Physically treating cancer. Even as one of the creators of the question, he found it absurd. But this is what Lu Chuan himself requested. Wu Kui didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but Zhang Xianji didn't say much more. After his brief shock, he finally squeezed into the crowd and started to study it with everyone else. Arguing and verifying the nuclear fusion technology. Wu Kui, however, frowned slightly. He held the answer sheet about cancer treatment, remaining silent for a long time. Finally, he said to Luo Wen, "Go make a trip. Get Mr. Pu." Mr. Pu? Luo Wen was slightly surprised. Mr. Pu's full name was Pu Shisan. He was one of the medical sages. After retiring a few years ago, he stopped seeing patients publicly. Instead, he was invited here to serve as a consultant for the leadership. For any common headaches or fevers, or for general health conditioning, he was the one in charge. And since he arrived, the health of the old leaders had clearly improved a lot, so everyone had great respect for Mr. Pu. They also trusted his medical skills. I'm just afraid the experts will get too excited, and suddenly have a heart attack, a stroke, or burst a blood vessel. Wu Kui was alarmed. You have a point. Call in 2 more emergency medical teams. Luo Wen was dumbfounded. Did I guess right or did I guess wrong? About an hour later, Mr. Pu arrived. Wu Kui pulled him aside, away from the noisy experts. He showed him the contents of the answer sheet and then said, "Mr. Pu, what do you think of this student's answer?" Mr. Pu didn't respond right away, but looked at it quietly. Only after he finished reading did he let out a long sigh. The answer is very good. At least for now. This is the method with the highest success rate. But unfortunately, the difficulty is too high. The difficulty is high? Wu Kui was taken aback. He certainly trusted Mr. Pu's words. But what did "the difficulty is high" mean? Yes, the difficulty is high. Theoretically, there's nothing wrong with this answer. The problem is, to find someone with this level of medical skill, especially in such pure traditional Chinese medicine, is too difficult, too rare. Then how many TCM doctors in our country can still do it? Mr. Pu sighed and said, if it were 10 years ago, there would have been about 20. 30 years ago, over 100. But now, from what I know, including myself, you can't even count 5 in the whole country. Wu Kui was shocked. So few? But in recent years, haven't we been developing traditional Chinese medicine? And there are more and more TCM colleges. It's a drop in the bucket. Besides, the foundation is all wrong. Mr. Pu shook his head. Since you want to know, I'll give you the inside scoop. In those TCM colleges, you might not find even 1 in 10,000 who can learn the real skills. It's not that it can't be learned, but that traditional Chinese medicine's demand for talent and personal skill is extremely, extremely high. One must grow through constant practice. But opportunities for practical experience are pitifully few, let alone for undergraduate students. Even after graduating with a master's or a doctorate, how many of them would dare to claim they are truly skilled? That's why the best way to pass on the knowledge of traditional Chinese medicine is still the master-apprentice system. For example, a master teaching an apprentice. It starts with copying prescriptions, but it's not just about letting them copy. While the master is diagnosing and feeling the pulse, the apprentice watches and listens from the side. Then, they let the apprentice feel the pulse and examine the patient too. After that, the master writes the prescription, and the apprentice copies it down. Then they feel the pulse again to verify and reinforce their findings. During this process, they also have to study all sorts of medical texts. Studying pharmacology, studying acupuncture. This process often takes as long as 20 or 30 years, even for those with talent. They would still need to study for 10 to 20 years just to be considered moderately accomplished. But in today's environment, under the current conditions, how many people can truly commit to studying for that long? People need to eat, after all. They have to earn money to support their families. And even if they aren't short on money, Studying traditional Chinese medicine is incredibly dull and tedious. Very, very few people can stick with it. On top of that, there are two other major problems. Wu Kui was shocked. Before this moment, he had no idea that traditional Chinese medicine was so difficult. Not just difficult to learn, but there were even two external problems. Yes, two major problems. The first is the issue with medicinal herbs. The herbs available now, I wouldn't say they're fake, but inferior quality herbs are often passed off as premium ones. They're not grown long enough, which means their medicinal effects are weak. They're grown in the wrong places. There are just so many issues. This causes the effectiveness of prescriptions to be greatly reduced. The second issue is the problem of oversimplification in TCM. In our traditional Chinese medicine, we focus on strengthening the body's resistance and dispelling pathogens. It's all about balancing yin and yang in the 5 elements. But that's just too abstract. Many apprentices, and even many TCM doctors themselves, don't really get it. They don't really believe in it. So what do? They resort to rote memorization. They memorize prescriptions. And how do they decide which one to use? They look at the results of modern medical tests. But modern medical tests and the TCM diagnostic methods of observation, listening, questioning, and pulse taking for pattern differentiation are two completely different things. It goes from treatment based on pattern differentiation to just treating the symptoms. The difference of one word makes a world of difference. In a situation like this, curing an illness really just comes down to luck. If you're lucky and the treatment matches the condition, then it might work. But if you're unlucky, in the best case scenario, the symptoms just get worse. In the worst case, it's basically murder with a license. Take, for example, the commonly used Baihu Tang for high fevers. They only know that Baihu Tang can bring a fever down. They completely forget that in traditional Chinese medicine, high fevers are also classified into warm heat and cold heat types. If they don't differentiate the pattern, and the nature of the medicine ends up being the same as the nature of the illness, it's just like adding fuel to the fire, causing the patient's condition to deteriorate even further. At this point, Mr. Pu shook his head. My heart is filled with sorrow. The westernization of traditional Chinese medicine is a widespread problem. It's also a major obstacle to the development and revival of Chinese medicine. Modern medicine itself is a good thing. All kinds of diagnostic tests are very useful, and TCM practitioners can look at them. They can be used as a reference, but you can't prescribe medicine based on them alone. Too many Chinese medicine practitioners have forgotten this. As the years have gone by, forget about their skills improving. I'm afraid they've completely forgotten how to perform a differential diagnosis. How can they possibly treat patients, let alone treat or stabilize cancer? And keep it from getting worse? Even though I started learning medicine from my father at the age of 6. And I've had medical books in my hands every day for over 70 years now. I still wouldn't dare claim I can cure every illness with a single prescription. I can only say there's a chance. Wu Kui understood, his brow furrowing. Is there a way to change this? He was a soldier. Logically, this wasn't his business to manage, but right now he really felt like meddling just this once. This is the 5 animal frolics. In the small courtyard outside the villa in the early morning, Ying Rushu was practicing with Lu Chuan. After only a few minutes, she felt sore all over and couldn't help but be amazed. My body isn't in bad shape, you know? And these movements don't look that strenuous. Why am I so tired? The 5 animal frolics can strengthen your body. It's good for our health, Lu Chuan said with a smile, reminiscing. Practice a little every day, and you'll gradually get used to it. Come on, let's go to the office. We have big things to do today. The new project needs to be officially started. Regarding the 2 extension questions from this year's college entrance exam, the buzz online was still very high, with countless netizens joining the heated discussion. Even some netizens from abroad were participating. But Lu Chuan didn't show up online, nor did he pay any attention to it. An hour later, at the office, Lu Chuan, Ying Rushu, and Secretary Zhang met in the office. CEO Lu, should we call Li Cheng and the others over? No need, Lu Chuan waved his hand lightly. Li Cheng and the others can just focus on the shipyard for now. The new project doesn't need them yet. We can just call them for help when we need them. I asked you to come over to help with establishing the project. Okay, CEO Lu, please go ahead, Secretary Zhang said, sitting up straight, his hands already on the keyboard. No need to take notes, especially not on the computer. Lu Chuan was very serious. The project he was about to undertake could truly lead the world forward by leaps and bounds, spanning an entire era. With this kind of technology, even the tiniest detail cannot be casually revealed, or it will cause huge problems. Moreover, Lu Chuan was certain he was already being watched. Perhaps they didn't know what he was going to do next. But those people wanted to get their hands on everything related to the GONG-1. If I wasn't careful and put this information on a computer that was connected to the internet, then it's very likely they could get their hands on it by a fluke. Of course, even if they did get it, they wouldn't be able to replicate it in a short time. But why should I let them get it? Those guys are not good people. Especially those foreigners. They're not one of us. They're sure to have different intentions. As soon as Secretary Zhang heard Lu Chuan say this, he also became quite nervous. Help me prepare the highest spec biophysics. A chemistry lab. Remember, it has to be the highest specification. Money is not an issue. If you don't know what equipment is needed, you can contact the relevant experts to ask. Paying a consultation fee is not a problem either. Next, help me contact some material suppliers. I'll give you the list later. And if these suppliers are foreign companies, after we've agreed on a price, you must import as much as you can for me with lightning speed, before they can even react. Because we'll likely only have this one chance. The color drained from Secretary Zhang's face. Wait a minute. No. Lu Chuan suddenly thought of a problem. Those guys, they probably won't sell to us, to Future Tech. And they'll use it to set conditions. That's practically a given. After all, before, I managed to offend all those advanced foreign tech firms. And now I want to import materials. It would be strange if they didn't give us a hard time or try to screw Future Tech over. Although, theoretically, for the types we need to import, maybe we should find a few partners, Ying Rushu suggested. Let our partners, under their own names, do the importing. That should work, right? That method could work. Lu Chuan nodded. We'll definitely need partners. For the previous Gonggong series projects, we needed the heavy hitters in our corner to solve problems for us. This time, what I'm getting into is nuclear fusion and its supporting technologies. Without partners, Future Tech really can't protect it. Even if we add Yingtian Shi Financial and the Huafu Group, it's still not enough. This time, if we don't get the government on board, things won't be stable. Let's put this on the back burner for now. We'll let them handle it later. As for the materials that don't need to be imported, just procure them through the normal channels. Then, Lu Chuan looked at Ying Rushu and smiled. Help me contact Uncle Ying. Ask him if he's interested this time around. Oh, and by the way, ask Uncle Wang too. As for what we're doing, don't reveal anything for now. Just ask them if they're willing to do this together. Of course, they will only have investment and dividend rights. No say in the operations. As for the percentage, Lu Chuan thought for a moment. 100 billion Tang Guo dollars. For a 10% stake. Strictly speaking, that price is very cheap. Once this project develops, it'll be worth far more than 1 trillion Tang Guo dollars. But right now, we have nothing. I'm just giving a new project $1 trillion valuation based on my word alone. This is already pretty good. If I ask for more, I'm afraid even my father-in-law would get mad at me. Besides, no one values a project at its peak from the very beginning. And it's not like they're only putting up money. They have to put in the work, too. Furthermore, my own money really isn't enough. Although Future Tech has been raking in cash recently, it depends on what the money is used for. It might be enough for other things, but to play in the truly high-tech, cutting-edge space, tossing in 10 or 20 billion won't even make a sound. Even in the chip industry, 20 billion. Even if you throw in 50 billion, 100 billion. You might not make a dent. It's only because I, Lu Chuan, have already mastered the relevant technology. I don't need to do the research and development from scratch, so the required funding isn't too terrifying. Otherwise, to develop nuclear fusion from nothing, forget about hundreds of billions. Even 100 trillion wouldn't be enough. Some technologies can't be created just by throwing money at them. After all, this is groundbreaking. 100 billion for a 10% stake. Secretary Zhang was stunned. What kind of project has a preliminary valuation in the trillions? If it were anyone else, he would just think they were unreliable, just blowing smoke to scam some money. But since the person saying this was Lu Chuan, he just felt utter shock. Also, Secretary Zhang, I need you to personally visit the relevant departments. Apply for the necessary licenses and documents for the new project. Yes, CEO Lu. What category of licenses and documents should we apply for? Energy. Lu Chuan narrowed his eyes. Nuclear energy. Nuclear fusion. Let's just call it Future Energy. It will be the second subsidiary under our Future Technology. Why not Future Nuclear? Because what I know right now isn't limited to just nuclear energy. There's even more advanced technology. It's just that with Mo Langson's current level of technology, it can't be created yet. But that might not be the case after a little while. Nuclear energy? Secretary Zhang's jaw dropped, his entire body trembling with excitement. Goosebumps instantly covered his entire body, and his impressive chest heaved and swayed. The next second, a thought struck him, leaving him stunned. He asked, CEO Lu, don't tell me you also got a perfect score on this year's college entrance exam? Nuclear energy? Or was it nuclear fusion? No wonder the initial valuation was over $1 trillion. For a technology like this, if it's really developed, a valuation over $1 trillion. What's $1 trillion? Lu Chuan said with a smile. I suppose so. Secretary Zhang was instantly paralyzed, almost forgetting how to breathe. But he quickly thought of something else. He should be able to get a perfect score. Doesn't that mean the other extension problem CEO Lu also. Oh my god, his mind went completely blank. Even for someone who'd seen it all, he couldn't remain calm in that moment. A short while later, Secretary Zhang left. But Lu Chuan, with his sharp eyes, noticed something about him. The seat he was in was damp, including the spot right under his bottom. There were even spots on the backrest in the desk. But it wasn't because he'd wet himself out of fear, or, It was because he was sweating so much from excitement that his clothes were soaked through. I'll go contact my dad. Ying Rushu gave Lu Chuan a kiss. Then she left the office with a grin. She had been just as stunned moments ago. Even though Lu Chuan had told her about this before, seeing him speak with such authority just now. That incredibly confident look of his still made her swoon, completely mesmerized. She was so excited by it, she just couldn't take it. She was afraid if she stayed any longer, she wouldn't be able to resist. Lu Chuan stretched lazily. He took out his phone and found Luo Wen's number, but when he called, he found the phone was off. Turned off? That's strange. Then, he tried calling Wu Kui, Li Chunggong, and Zhou Haiyang, but couldn't get through to any of them. What's going on? Lu Chuan was confused. Isn't this the technology we all worked on together? If you guys hadn't posed this question, I wouldn't have been able to develop this technology either. So, you wouldn't go as far as to blacklist me, would you? Or is there something urgent going on? Lu Chuan thought for a moment and decided the latter was more likely. So, he decided to have Secretary Zhang head over to the Navy first. They met up offline, inside a high-end club. Lao Wang and Yin Tianxi were having a good time. Since their last collaboration, their relationship had grown much closer. They often relaxed together recently whenever they had free time. Suddenly, Yin Tianxi's phone rang. Just hang up, Lao Wang suggested. No way. Yin Tianxi took a look. It was his daughter calling. How could he possibly hang up? Quiet down, don't interrupt my precious daughter's call. Hearing this, Lao Wang's interest was immediately piqued. He quieted down at once and pricked up his ears. Sweetheart, Lu Chuan's new investment project? Interested? Of course, I'm interested. In just a few short sentences, Yin Tianxi was so ecstatic he nearly jumped up. Lao Wang, who had been calmly enjoying his massage and just eavesdropping, suddenly shot right up. He immediately waved the two masseuses away and then strode over to Yin Tianxi's side. He pressed right up against him, putting his ear close to the back of the phone. 100 billion Tongguo currency for 10%? Contact Lao Wang? Alright, he's right here next to me. Wait for my good news. After a few more short words, the call ended. Yin Tianxi shuddered and pushed Lao Wang away. You old rascal, get away from me. I'm not interested in men. You think I am? Lao Wang rolled his eyes. You heard everything, didn't you? Yin Tianxi couldn't be bothered with nonsense. I heard. It's good that you heard. Saves me the trouble of explaining. 100 billion, or a 10% stake. We'll figure out how much we each put in. If we don't have enough capital, we can also contact other trustworthy, well-vetted domestic companies to invest. We'll just calculate it proportionally. But the condition is that they get no say, only profit sharing. And they'll have to fulfill some corresponding obligations. So, are you in or not? Yin Tianxi picked up the ridiculously expensive tea beside him and took a sip. Waiting calmly, and they'll have to fulfill some corresponding obligations. So, are you in or not? Yin Tianxi picked up the ridiculously expensive tea beside him, took a sip, and waited calmly. Heh, in or not? Lao Wang laughed. Old eagle, do you take me for a fool? Yin Tianxi raised an eyebrow. He figured the price was too outrageous. If he didn't invest, he wasn't too concerned. Just as he was thinking of making his excuses, he heard Lao Wang say again, a fool is who wouldn't invest. In all the years since my Huafu group has risen, we've made countless investments, but one that made money this fast, this enjoyably, and this hassle-free? That would be the future media project. I've seen what that kid Lu Chuan is capable of with my own eyes. And his character is impeccable. His new project costs 100 billion for just a 10% stake? Hey, it's a no-brainer. It must be something incredible. If I don't invest, then I must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. Yin Tianxi was slightly surprised. You have that much capital? I'll just sell off all the futures and whatnot that I'm holding. At most, I can free up 20 to 30 billion in a month. Your Huafu can get 70 billion in liquid capital? I don't have it, old Wang said, throwing up his hands, but I can sell things. Sell properties, sell plazas. Worst case, I'll sell them at a discount. Raising cash isn't hard when you're selling at a discount. You think that highly of my son-in-law? Damn it, don't play innocent after getting such a good deal. Old Wang started cursing. Your son-in-law is amazing, so what? What the hell are you so proud of? Let me tell you, it's a good thing I had a son. And a damn unambitious one at that. If I'd had a daughter, even if she wasn't pretty, I'd spend a few $100 million on plastic surgery just to fight you for that son-in-law. Then you've missed your chance, Yin Tianxi said, tilting his head back. My daughter is all natural, and there are no ifs. Screw you. Old Wang was so mad he was hopping. Soon, the two of them started arranging to sell off their assets, even causing two market shocks in the process. Ying Tianxi dumped nearly 30 billion in futures at once, sending that futures market into a wild frenzy. Not only did the price drop significantly, but it also caused panic among retail investors. Some people immediately started selling off, too. Ying Tianxi dumped nearly 30 billion in futures at once, sending that futures market into a wild frenzy. Not only did the price drop significantly, but it also caused panic among retail investors, and some immediately started selling off, too. In the end, it even made other financial institutions and major players curse up a storm. Because they were trading these futures, they couldn't just stand by and watch the market get hammered. To stabilize it, they had to buy. Now, normally, for major players or financial institutions, an operation like buying up assets is completely normal. But this time, they were being forced to buy. They didn't even know what was happening. While they were buying, they also had to worry. If they were behind on the news, or if someone else had inside information. Was that why they were selling off? Should they even dare to buy? Should they buy or not? It made them buy, while frantically asking around and cursing. Finally, they figured out what was going on. It was Ying Tianxi, that son of a bitch. He had quietly started a massive sell-off. And when they looked into it, damn, it was you son of a bitch, needing money for an investment. Damn it, you really screwed us over. Screw you. They immediately started blowing up Ying Tianxi's phone. As soon as he picked up, they just started cussing him out. Ying Tianxi knew he was in the wrong, so he just chuckled and laughed it off. As for the people who were interested in this investment, Ying Tianxi kept his mouth shut. Just because you're interested, I have to bring you along? Competitors are enemies. Why would I help you make money? What are you thinking? Meanwhile, things on old Wang's side weren't quite as chaotic. But the properties, plazas, and so on under his Huafu group were also highly sought after. When the major real estate developers heard about the discounted sale, they went on a buying frenzy, even though they were skeptical. The speed of raising cash was very gratifying. Over on Secretary Zhang's side, he prioritized going to the relevant departments to apply for the necessary licenses and documents for Future Energy. As the Chief Secretary of Future Technology, and on top of that, Future Technology already enjoyed many benefits and preferential policies. So, naturally, it was all green lights at the beginning, and things moved extremely fast. But when he finished filling out the documents, the person in charge of reviewing them took them with a cheerful laugh. Future Tech already enjoyed many preferential and priority policies. So naturally, it was all green lights at the beginning, and things moved extremely fast. But when he finished filling out the documents, the person in charge of reviewing them took them with a cheerful smile. Just as he was about to stamp them and enter them into the computer, he was suddenly startled. Whoa, the main business includes the development and sale of nuclear energy. There's no precedent for this, right? Although the government encourages private investment to invest in nuclear energy companies, it doesn't mean they support you developing it yourselves. Oh, the agony. The staff member looked at Secretary Zhang, completely stunned. This. I don't dare to stamp this. He gave a wry, helpless smile. He was scared too. This stamp absolutely cannot be used. Once I stamp this, if anything goes wrong, wouldn't I be totally screwed? I don't have this authority. Secretary Zhang wasn't surprised and said with a smile, that's all right. Could you please help me contact your superior? Okay. The staff member let out a long sigh of relief. Contacting a superior? Nothing wrong with that. This hot potato should be passed on to him. A moment later, the superior arrived. A few minutes later, the superior was also stunned. Then, with his head buzzing, he said, Secretary Zhang, please wait a moment. I'll contact my superior for you. And my superior's superior. Half an hour later, there were already 7 or 8 people standing behind the counter. Each one ranked higher than the last, with a more powerful presence. The original counter clerk was squeezed into a corner, trembling. Even the head of the entire department showed up, but right now, even he was breaking out in a cold sweat that dripped down his back. Even though it was June, the air conditioning here was set very low. Logically, without any strenuous activity, it should be impossible to sweat. But now, every single one of them was dripping with sweat, frantically wiping it away. This is insane. The director, Chen Wenbin, touched his forehead, which was covered in cold sweat. He muttered, if it were anyone else bringing this kind of document to me for a stamp, I'd chew them out and throw them out. No, wait, if it were anyone else. Would my subordinates even dare to call me over here? The director, Chen Wenbin, touched his forehead, which was covered in cold sweat. He muttered, if it were anyone else bringing me this kind of document to stamp, I'd chew them out and throw them out. No, wait, if it were anyone else. Would my subordinates even dare to call me? They'd get a scolding right along with them. But alas, there are no ifs. Future Tech, in the current city of Shenzhen, is a real star enterprise. Although it currently seems to only have business in the tens of billions. Everyone knows that Future Tech has a bright future. The moment they're willing to go public, A market value of over $1 trillion would be no problem at all. And on top of that, there are related policies. The directive from above is that as long as it doesn't violate laws, regulations, or principles, it's green lights all the way. But right now, who would dare to give this green light? In any case, I don't dare to. Whoever dares to, can step up and do it. Chen Wenbin took a deep breath and said helplessly, Secretary Zhang. Logically speaking, if Future Tech wants to establish a subsidiary, we should offer our unconditional support. After all, this is an investment in our city of Shenzhen, and it will bring job opportunities and a large pool of talent. But, this license and certificate related to nuclear energy. I really don't have the authority for this. Why don't you try going a little higher up? Secretary Zhang had already guessed that they wouldn't dare to approve this so easily for him. So he smiled and said, there's no rush. Comrades, why don't you hear me out? Do you know what our initial investment for this future energy project is? Chen Wenbin froze, and then his heart began to pound. How much? The initial investment is 1 trillion. Secretary Zhang said it without even blinking. An investment of 100 billion only gets you a 10% stake. So that comes out to 1 trillion, doesn't it? Gasp. When he heard this, Chen Wenbin trembled for a good moment, anger welling up inside him. A wicked thought sparked in his mind. This whole thing was definitely a hot potato, no doubt about it. A really, really hot one. But, what if? What if they actually pulled it off? Forget everything else, just getting this $1 trillion investment to land in Shenzhen. What a massive accomplishment that would be. He thought his chances for a promotion were gone. With an achievement like this under his belt, maybe not. Screw it, I'll do it. Just stamp the damn thing. What a massive accomplishment that would be. I thought my chances for a promotion were gone, but with an achievement like this. Maybe not, screw it, I'll just approve it. I don't have the authority, but I can at least give it a try. Secretary Zhang, I have an idea. Chen Wenbin changed his tone. I'll help you submit the application to the higher-ups. Then I'll be counting on you. Secretary Zhang said with a smile as he got up. Oh, right, comrade. Our CEO, Mr. Liu, wanted me to tell you. This project won't be exclusive to our company, Future Tech. In addition to us, several other domestic investment firms will be joining. And also, the military will also be one of our controlling partners. The moment Chen Wenbin heard that, his eyes instantly lit up. The military is going to be involved? Well, that changes everything. Right now, all he wanted to ask was, why didn't you say so sooner? Why didn't you tell me earlier? I'll do everything I can. He practically slapped his chest in assurance. After Secretary Zhang left, Chen Wenbin immediately gathered the relevant documents and personally set off for the capital. Meanwhile, Secretary Zhang headed to naval headquarters to see Luo Wen, but was stopped at the gate and denied entry. He was told that Luo Wen, Wu Kui, and the others were all currently on a top-secret mission of the highest level. They're not seeing any visitors. Secretary Zhang frowned slightly. Please let them know that I'm from Future Tech. Our CEO, Lu Chuan, sent me here to discuss something important. Of course, if it's a secret mission, then I wouldn't want to interrupt. I just ask that you help pass along the message when it's convenient. Wait a minute, Future Tech? Lu Chuan? The two young men standing guard were taken aback. CEO Lu Chuan sent you? You, hold on, I'll go report this immediately. After saying that, one of them took off running. But, they have communication devices, don't they? Secretary Zhang wondered, what's going on? I thought they said it was a top-secret mission. The remaining guard saw his confusion and chuckled, you might not know this. But our superiors gave an order. During the mission, they are to see no one. And not be disturbed for any reason. But anything related to CEO Lu is an exception. It dawned on Secretary Zhang, but inwardly, he was stunned. See no one, and not be disturbed for any reason. But anything involving President Lu is an exception, Secretary Zhang realized suddenly. But in his heart, he was completely shocked. Could the secret mission they were on be just this? He remembered that before the college entrance exam questions were even set, Luo Wen had gone to see President Lu. The notification was sent out quickly. Looking for me? Luo Wen asked, pushing up his glasses. He looked toward Wu Kui, and the latter didn't show even the slightest hint of hesitation. He stood up immediately. You guys stay here and keep an eye on things. I'll go there myself. By the time he arrived, the conference room was already packed to the brim. Relevant experts in nuclear physics and materials from every unit in the country had all arrived and were frantically verifying the data. At the same time, they were practically at each other's throats, arguing non-stop. Wu Kui gathered his men, picked up Secretary Zhang, and headed straight for Future Tech. Shortly after, both parties met in Lu Chuan's office. Little Lu, we meet again, Wu Kui said with a warm smile. Seeing Lu Chuan again, his expression was actually quite complex. It was completely different from their first meeting. Back then, he only knew Lu Chuan was a talent, and he was truly looking forward to Lu Chuan achieving even more brilliant results. But he never imagined that in less than 1 year, To be precise, it had only been a little over half a year. Lu Chuan had actually reached this stage. It was simply mind-blowing. Yet, it was something worthy of the highest praise. I was originally planning to pay you a visit, but I didn't expect you to come here in person, Elder Wu, Lu Chuan responded with a smile. However, Elder Wu's personal visit didn't really come as a surprise to him. After all, the questions were set by the Navy, so they would definitely be the first to focus on the answers. Clearly, the Navy had spotted some issues, which was only natural. After all, they have plenty of capable people. Of course I had to come myself. As he spoke, he personally took out an arsenal license and handed it to Lu Chuan. Lu Chuan was overjoyed, but then curiosity took over. Thank you, Elder Wu. But, has it already been verified? It's still in the process of being verified, but all the experts are in unanimous agreement. Even if it isn't an immediate success, it can save us at least 20 to 30 years. It's still in the process of being verified, but all the experts are in unanimous agreement. Even if it isn't an immediate success, it can save us at least 20 to 30 years. It saves us decades of unnecessary detours. So, you've definitely earned this license. We had a deal, didn't we? Lu Chuan nodded, accepting it without standing on ceremony. Just as he set the license down and was about to talk business, Elder Wu's phone suddenly rang. What is it? The verification was successful? It's feasible, but there's a problem? A problem with the Chuan element? A moment later, he put down his phone and looked at Lu Chuan with a peculiar expression. Lu Chuan just smiled back. That's exactly the issue I was just about to bring up. I have to say, the experts and professors are remarkably fast. Wu Kui gave Lu Chuan a deep, meaningful look and smiled. I'm all ears, then. On the phone just now, Luo Wen had made everything very clear. From the experts' initial disbelief to settling down for rigorous calculations. And after all that intense debating, they had finally reached a unified conclusion. And that was, Lu Chuan's answer is indeed feasible. At the very least, the implementation plan for controlled nuclear fusion that Lu Chuan wrote. They can't find a single flaw or error in it, but all of this is built on one major premise. That is, that the required element, Chuan, actually exists. And that it truly has the effects described. You could say that element Chuan is the absolute foundation of Lu Chuan's entire nuclear fusion scheme. Without element Chuan, the whole thing falls apart. But if element Chuan is real, then I'm afraid they could start experimenting immediately. They could even begin construction. As for any minor hiccups they might run into, why worry? Problems are meant to be solved. You can't see the rainbow without weathering the storm. Just talking theory on paper is worth jack squat no matter how many times you crunch the numbers. You still have to test it yourself. But does this element Chuan really exist? Among all the elements currently known to man, there is no such thing as element Chuan. Besides, its properties are just a bit too mind-blowing. It's just that Luo Wen also emphasized that among the currently known elements, there is no element Chuan, and its characteristics are simply too incredible. Luo Wen also stressed what the experts had said, that even if this is all a hoax, it's an incredibly sophisticated one, and we are more than willing to walk right into this trap. Even if he plays us for fools, the meaning behind those words couldn't be more obvious. Element Chuan, Lu Chuan said with a smile, is indeed the key to making controlled nuclear fusion a reality. What kind of element is this Chuan exactly? Is it some element humans haven't discovered yet? Why have I never heard of it? Although Wu Kui wasn't exactly a technical expert, rising to his position meant he had a decent grasp of the relevant knowledge. We have plenty of rivers, but we certainly don't have an element Chuan. It's not an undiscovered element, but rather an element that doesn't exist yet. So, it's only natural you haven't heard of it, Elder Wu. Wu Kui was taken aback. However, he didn't rush to ask more questions, he was remarkably composed. Seeing this, Lu Chuan secretly thought to himself, it's a good thing this old man isn't a technical expert, otherwise, if he heard what I just said, he'd probably rip me a new one. Then he continued, but it will exist very soon. Because Future Tech is about to establish a brand new subsidiary. And then, I'll immediately start synthesizing element Chuan, synthesizing a completely new element. Well, Planet Moran didn't have the Marvel series. There were superhero movies abroad, but they didn't have characters like Iron Man who are famous to people on Earth. So, while Wu Kui had a look of, I knew it, surprise on his face. He couldn't make any connection to someone like Iron Man at all. Even if he didn't understand the tech, Wu Kui knew just how insane this whole thing was. And the massive benefits it would bring if it worked. Then what are we waiting for? It's not that I want to wait, but the necessary conditions aren't quite there yet. Lu Chuan shrugged and opened his hands. First, there's the matter of licenses and permits. Elder Wu, you should be aware that in our country, when it comes to private companies controlling nuclear energy firms, Lu Chuan shrugged again. First, the issue with the licenses. Elder Wu, you must know about this. Our country, at the moment, toward private enterprises having a majority stake in nuclear power, is still a bit wary. even though we've submitted our application. But I'm not sure what the success rate will be. Second, we'll need to source some related equipment, materials, and so on. When Elder Wu heard this, he understood immediately. Ha, is that all? It's no big deal. I'll take care of this for you. As long as what you're saying is the truth, then you don't need to have a single worry. In fact, our entire nation will stand right behind you. While we watch you blaze a trail through every obstacle, we'll shield you from the wind and rain and help you grow. With those words from you, Elder Wu, I can finally rest easy. Lu Chuan broke into a smile. Note, the author is playing it safe here. Let's keep this part brief, otherwise the censors will never leave us alone. Everyone, please don't overanalyze the details regarding the state or government in the plot. Or the logic or whatever. Just get the gist of what's happening. So, Elder Wu, would the Navy, or rather, the military, be interested in taking a stake in future energy? Of course, Wu Kui didn't hold back. Be honest, even if you hadn't brought it up, I was going to suggest it. While we'll support you, we definitely want to be part of this. Being involved is fine, Lu Chuan nodded. But there will be no controlling stake and no voting rights. You can observe and you can collect dividends. You can buy whatever you need from future energy at internal prices. But the technology stays in my hands. I'm the only one who makes the calls. If you can't agree to that, then there's nothing to talk about. Gentle when he needed to be, and tough when it mattered. Lu Chuan was definitely no pushover. If you asked if he was scared, he really wasn't. After all, he was fighting for his own interests, and this was about more than just money. He trusted his country, but he absolutely had to keep an ace up his sleeve. The synthesis formula for the Chuan element was something he would never leak. As for whether they try to force him, well, he still had to keep a backup plan. He would never, ever reveal the synthesis formula for the Chuan element. As for them pressuring him, Lu Chuan believed they wouldn't be that stupid. Why kill the goose that lays the golden eggs? He was only 21 years old, and he had already cracked the code for technology like controllable nuclear fusion. If he were given more time, how much further could he go? It was simply unimaginable to try and move against him now or make an enemy of him. You'd have to have your head kicked in 1,000 times to do something that dumb. Any sane person would know that they should stay on his good side. They should be building a close partnership, not making an enemy of him. Besides, the terms he was offering weren't bad, were they? In principle, I have no problem with this. But I can't speak for the whole nation. You understand that? Wu Kui fell silent for a moment before saying, I'll report this immediately. And I'll do my best to push it through. It shouldn't be much of a problem. At worst, I'll just give them all a piece of my mind. If it really comes down to it, Wu Kui started rolling up his sleeves. Then I'll leave it in your hands, Elder Wu. Lu Chuan grinned. My condition is that you provide 200 billion. For a 20% stake. Elder Wu nodded. 200 billion for 20%. It may not seem like much, but don't forget what this is for. Then I'll be waiting for the good news. Of course, I'll arrange it immediately. Wu Kui got up and left right away. The moment he got in his car, he immediately started making arrangements. First, a phone call. He called the highest-ranking official in the Commerce Department. At that exact moment, that official was getting a report from Chen Wenbin and was chewing him out completely. What do you mean the military will be involved? How come I wasn't notified? If this were really happening, you think I wouldn't know? Are you? Hold on, let me get this call. I'll continue yelling at you later. Chen Wenbin cowered in his spot like a timid quail. Hello, Elder Wu? What? Yes. There will be absolutely no problem on my end. You can rest assured, I'll personally deal with anyone who dares to get in the way. After he hung up, Chen Wenbin was stunned to find. Yes. There will be absolutely no problem on my end. You can rest assured, I'll personally deal with anyone who dares to get in the way. After he hung up, Chen Wenbin was stunned to find that his old boss's attitude had done a 180-degree turn. Little Chen, I've seen your work all these years. I admit, just now, I might have been a bit loud. But you know, I always handle things impartially. It's for your own good. But things are different now. This matter is settled. Ah, Chen Wenbin. Yes. Everything you say is right. He agreed, saying, it's nothing, it's all part of the job. What else could he do? Was he supposed to just fly into a rage and start yelling at his own boss? But hey, the deal went through. Chen Wenbin's heart pounded with excitement. This was a massive project with an initial investment of over $1 trillion. Once the project is launched, if they can even get some small results, then this would definitely be a huge accomplishment for him. It's just, he didn't know who had made that call. It must have been someone from the military, right? So Future Tech really has the military's support. But that makes sense. On the way back, Chen Wenbin gradually sorted out his thoughts. Leaving other things aside, just that new material Future Tech developed is insanely powerful. You could call it omnipotent. It can go into the sea and up into the sky. It can even be used to make cannon barrels or even fighter jet fan blades. It's no surprise they have connections with the military. Could it be that the military is the beneficiary this time? The success rate must be extremely high. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. My career is really going to take off this time. Meanwhile, after Wu Kui returned to the Navy headquarters, without another word, he immediately arranged for a private jet to the imperial capital. Then, using his authority, he summoned nearly all the top leaders from both the military and the government. He proposed the plan for future energy cooperation, along with the calculation results and opinions from numerous experts. Soon, a heated debate erupted among the bigwigs. Some were in support, and naturally, some were opposed. It was incredibly rowdy, just like a marketplace. Soon, a heated debate erupted among the bigwigs. Some were in support, and naturally, some were opposed. It was incredibly rowdy, just like a marketplace. A scene like this happening among these people was truly a rare sight. However, the bigwigs from the military were unusually united when they learned there was progress on controllable nuclear fusion technology, and showed great interest when it was announced that formal testing could begin soon. They raised their hands in support, but the opinions and views of the main supporters were all over the place, and there was no shortage of opponents. Subsequently, the high-level meeting devolved into a shouting match between the two sides. I am a military man, and not good with words, but this collaboration is imperative. I am a civil official, but I'm staying out of this. I'm not expressing an opinion. I don't care if you're military or civil officials. My opinion is that this is a huge waste of manpower and resources. Moreover, this is clearly beyond the capabilities of the current era. With technical limitations, it's bound to be all for nothing in the end. Since that's the case, why waste so much manpower, materials, and money? Do you really believe a high school student can come up with this kind of technology? Well, before the GONG-1 interview, who believed Lu Chuan could pull off GONG-1? A single new material from that was enough to upgrade all our equipment. That's different, my ass. What the hell do you know? You don't know anything. All you military folks know is how to ask for funding every year, and you throw a fit if you get less than you want. Do you have any idea how hard it is to make money? For a project that's doomed to fail, 200 billion is only 20% of the cost. Why don't you just go rob a bank? You're the ones who don't know a damn thing. Dignity is only found on the edge of a sword. Truth is only found within the range of a cannon. Easy for you to say. Where's the money coming from? What, are you giving up your military budget this year? The argument between the two sides grew more and more intense, until spit was flying everywhere. The military chiefs were about to roll up their sleeves and start a fight, but finally, Wu Kui couldn't take it anymore. He slammed the table, sending spittle flying a great distance. It's just about money, isn't it? If it really comes down to it. The military chiefs were about to roll up their sleeves and start a fight, but finally, Wu Kui couldn't take it anymore. He slammed the table, sending spittle flying a great distance. It's just about money, isn't it? If it really comes down to it. We, the Navy, will pay for it. You can just give us our regular military budget. How we spend it is our business. But in that case, the shares in future energy will belong to us, the Navy. And when there are dividends, don't even think about getting a single cent. Don't be rash. Many of those who had remained neutral now spoke up to mediate. Old Wu, your temper is too fiery. Let's discuss this a bit more. Think it over before you speak. Consider it, consider my ass. Wu Kui slammed the table repeatedly. What else is there to discuss? I've already thought it through. Bickering with you all is a complete waste of time. That settles it. The opponents frowned. What you're doing is improper. It's a waste of military funds. That's 200 billion. You're not even willing to risk an investment. Yet you expect to have cutting-edge technology? You people have less sense than a crude old soldier like me. That's final. Some of the military leaders spoke up, thinking they could help share the burden, but Wu Kui angrily refused. After declaring that the Navy would go it alone, Wu Kui stormed out in a rage. With the meeting ending on such a sour note, on the plane ride back, Luo Wen was a bit worried. Sir, are you sure what you did was wise? What if something happens? They just don't want to give us the money, that's all. Wu Kui smiled. I was just there to inform them of what I'm going to do. This way, no matter what the outcome is later, at least they've been notified. So no one can use that as an excuse to come after me. Besides, do you really think I want them to give me money? Honestly, I have a lot of confidence in this collaboration. Once it succeeds, our Navy won't have to worry about funding anymore. Right now, we have to beg and plead every year for funding. But after this collaboration succeeds, they'll be the ones begging to give us money, and whether we take it or not will depend on our mood. Luo Wen gently pushed up his gold-rimmed glasses and said nothing. After the collaboration succeeds, they'll be the ones begging to give us money. And whether we take it or not will depend on our mood. Luo Wen gently pushed up his gold-rimmed glasses. He said nothing, although what was said was true. He couldn't help but smile wryly to himself. But if it doesn't succeed in the end, even an old hand like you won't be able to take the fall for this. But seeing how utterly confident Wu Kui was, he didn't have the heart to rain on his parade, so he could only worry in secret. The next morning, Lu Chuan had just arrived at the company. When Wu Kui showed up with his people and the contract, good things lift the spirits. Wu Kui was beaming, and despite being in his early 70s, he was full of vigor. As if he had become more than 15 years younger overnight. It's a done deal, I've brought the contracts. They have the military and official government seals. Absolutely no problem. A done deal? That's wonderful. Lu Chuan was overjoyed, but he pretended not to hear the absolutely no problem part. Absolutely no problem? Maybe there's no problem now. But who knows what will happen later? Especially if Wu Kui is no longer around. All sorts of ghouls and goblins might crawl out of the woodwork. So, I have to keep some aces up my sleeve. These aces aren't just the related classified formulas and tritium. They should also include the ability to turn the tables against all odds, or at the very least, to protect myself. And to ensure the safety of those I care about. And for that, I already have a plan in mind. Once the controllable nuclear fusion technology is developed, I can start working on it. There should be enough time. At least, judging by Wu Kui's current physical condition. It should be fine, as long as nothing unexpected happens. Let's sign the contract, Wu Kui urged, seeming even more eager than Lu Chuan. How could he not be eager? Their navy has been suppressed for far too long. Although the new large destroyer is about to be launched, it's still not enough. Without an aircraft carrier, you have no say. Without a nuclear-powered carrier, you're always a step behind. But if we can build a carrier powered by controllable nuclear fusion, I'd like to see who would dare run their mouth in front of me then. Without a nuclear-powered carrier, you're always a step behind. But if we can build a carrier powered by controllable nuclear fusion, I'd like to see who would dare run their mouth in front of me then. Who would dare challenge our great navy? We won't go looking for trouble, but we must quickly gain the ability to face any provocation, no matter who the opponent is. Strength to strike them with lightning speed until they're crying for their daddy. No rush. This is a 4-party collaboration. They should be here soon. Lu Chuan gestured for him to calm down. Who else is coming besides my father-in-law? Ah Fu and Xiao Wang. Wu Kui suddenly understood. Xiao Wang is a good choice. He has a military background, like us. His wife is. Still, I have no problem with it. It's fine to wait for them to arrive before signing. Lu Chuan raised an eyebrow. It seems old Wang's background isn't simple either. But that makes sense. Without that kind of background, after Gonggong 1 was released, it probably wouldn't have been so peaceful. After all, those interested in the related technology are not just people and forces from abroad, and a lot of the time, people on the inside are the most troublesome and difficult to deal with. But I haven't run into a single one. Clearly, Huafu's old Wang has considerable influence. As for my own father-in-law, he doesn't have much of a background. He's a self-made man. Maybe he can block some trouble, but certainly not a lot. But this time is different. With the Navy joining and taking charge, there probably won't be any major hiccups. A dozen or so minutes later, Yin Tianxi and Old Wang arrived, both of them filled with anticipation and excitement. Originally, Old Wang wanted to get a little more information on what exactly the project was. But when he saw Wu Kui was also there, he was completely stunned. When he learned that the Navy was going to independently invest 200 billion for a 20% stake, he was even more dumbfounded, and he was still asking what they were doing. Why even ask? Just sign it and transfer the money, and that's that. It was only after signing the contract, when Lu Chuan told them what the project was. That old Wang cursed. Controllable nuclear fusion energy. It was only after signing the contract, when Lu Chuan told them what the project was. That old Wang cursed. Controllable nuclear fusion energy. So, can I still back out now? Of course, he was joking. Though he was shocked, with Wu Kui and the Navy involved. Old Wang still held a sliver of hope. Then, Lu Chuan took out the procurement list. He handed them to Old Wang and Yin Tianxi. Uncle Ying, Uncle Wang. We're all on the same team, so let's be frank. Future technology has offended pretty much every foreign company out there. If we try to import things under the future energy name, we'll definitely face a lot of obstacles. It's too much trouble. We don't have the time, and we can't be bothered to argue with them. So, I'd like you to use the names of Huafu Group and Ying Tianxi Finance to procure these materials. Then, our future energy will buy them back from you at cost. And then there's the quantum collider. We need 10 units of the most advanced model, and we need them fast. Also, before they deliver, we absolutely cannot let a single word leak. We can't let those foreign companies know that these are for future energy. Both of them nodded immediately. No problem, it's a small matter, as long as there's no ban in place. For now, this won't affect us. As for later, Old Wang sighed lightly. What you did before, that was exactly what I was hoping to see. But it also means you've pretty much offended every foreign company, and even every other country. Once they start getting serious, I'm afraid future technology will find it impossible to move forward. That day would come sooner or later. Lu Chuan was already mentally prepared for this, smiling. But as long as we're strong enough, all of these problems will solve themselves. I believe that very soon, the things they have won't be essential anymore. In fact, in 3 to 5 years, they'll be crying and begging us. They'll offer us their most advanced technology, and we might not even be willing to take it. Because we'll be so far beyond it. Well said. Wu Kui slammed his hand on the table. I love that wild streak in you, kid. What's the point of being young if you're not a little reckless? That's the spirit. We have to get so far ahead they can't even dream of catching up. Well said. Wu Kui slammed his hand on the table. I love that wild streak in you, kid. What's the point of being young if you're not a little reckless? That's the spirit. We have to get so far ahead they can't even dream of catching up. The contracts are already signed. The funds will be transferred soon. Now, there's one more matter. That needs to be handled immediately. Otherwise, once this gets out, it'll be too late, he warned Lu Chuan. His expression growing serious. Lu Chuan gently stroked his chin. Puzzled, not quite understanding. Wu Kui shook his head and sighed. It's about your safety. Right now, your safety is our #1 priority. Do you understand? Otherwise, once the controllable nuclear fusion technology is developed, it will be impossible to keep it a secret. We might be able to secure the technology itself, but we can't possibly stop all the information from getting out. Once the news leaks, you'll become a target for everyone. Every country, every faction, will want to get their hands on you. And if they can't have you, they'll destroy you. Yin Tianxi chimed in, his face growing pale. He had been so caught up in his amazement that he hadn't even considered this. Exactly, Lao Wang nodded grimly. The darkness of the real world is far more terrifying than you can imagine. Even what you read in novels is just the tip of the iceberg. It's not just hostile nations and factions. Even neutral countries, and especially those nations and powers built on energy resources, won't just stand by. Because the advent of controllable nuclear fusion will basically plunge them from heaven into hell in an instant. To put it another way, there isn't a single country that wouldn't want to get their hands on this technology. At the same time, the other powerful nations will never want to see us rise up. And you will become thorn in every single one of their sides. Getting you to work for them would be their best case scenario. If they can't, well, then they'll have no choice. Lao Wang made a throat-slitting gesture. Your safety has to be guaranteed. Exactly, Wu Kui continued. And it must be the highest level of security. We're going to assign 2 squads to you. They'll work in 20-hour shifts, providing you with close personal protection. At the same time, we'll station a battalion in the area, setting up a defensive perimeter with you at the center. We'll assign 2 squads on 20-hour shifts. They'll be your personal security detail, and we'll also have a battalion stationed nearby to establish a defensive perimeter around you. Of course, you won't see them on a daily basis. You won't even notice their presence. Lu Chuan was a little taken aback. Isn't that a bit of an exaggeration? This highest level of security seems a little. It's just 24-hour personal protection seems like a bit much, Lu Chuan said, scratching his head. I don't think 24-hour personal protection is necessary. It would be inconvenient. I know what you mean. But Kui just calmly sipped his tea. It shows that everything is under control, but that's alright. Female soldiers can hold up half the sky. We have female soldiers. Lu Chuan, you've completely misunderstood my meaning. Alright, but hey, looks like I have no choice but to accept. Also, from now on, you are officially listed in our Navy expert group. You'll enjoy battalion commander level treatment. Once the controllable nuclear fusion technology is successfully developed, you'll receive command level treatment. Wu Kui added, and it's not just you. Wu Kui finished explaining the arrangements for Lu Chuan, giving him no time or opportunity to object. He continued, your parents' safety must also be guaranteed, including your future father-in-law. I shouldn't need that, right? Although it's possible someone might be targeting me. But I have bodyguards. Being a little more careful should be enough. Besides, it should be made public later that we only have the right to investment dividends. We don't have any other rights, do we? In that case, what's wrong? Wu Kui showed no sign of backing down. You think others can't just capture you? Well, they could, so we can't be careless about this matter. There are 2 options now. 1, we can also arrange for you 2 squads of men for protection. The second is to move into the military compound. The compound has everything, and it's relatively safe. My personal recommendation is to move in. It's safer there. I'm not going, Yin Tianxi quickly declared. Please, Elder Wu, just arrange some people to protect me. After all, I have over 1,000 people to support under me. It's safer there. I'm not going, Yin Tianxi quickly declared. Elder Wu, please, just arrange some people to protect me. After all, I have over 1,000 people to support under me. Moving into the compound, although you wouldn't lack anything, it's not really a solution, is it? Right, then what about your parents? I'll ask them later. Lu Chuan didn't make the decision for his parents. This kind of matter is directly related to their future lives. Of course, they have to decide for themselves. And Lu Chuan wasn't resistant to this. The issue of safety was always extremely important. If he already had the ability to protect himself and those around him, he wouldn't have to worry. But at this stage, he still had to rely on them. What if a country or some other power couldn't resist stirring up trouble and decided to take a risky path? One must be prepared. Alright, just contact me after you've decided. As for the personnel, they will be in place within 2 days at the latest. Okay, I'll be heading back then. Take care, Elder Wu. Not long after Wu Kui left, Old Wang and Yin Tianxi also departed. Lu Chuan then gave his dad a call. His parents were out playing mahjong. Before, they were just an ordinary family and had never really enjoyed life. Now that their son was worth tens of billions, they didn't insist on continuing to work. Instead, they began to gradually accept the wealthy lifestyle and slowly started to enjoy themselves. Playing mahjong, eating delicious food, and things like that had already become commonplace, but they always played for small stakes. 3 or 5 yuan kind. They absolutely would not gamble for real. When Lu Chuan explained the reason for the call, his parents both became a little worried. After careful consideration, they decided to move into the compound. Here in the compound, unless some major power really loses its mind and decides to come after them at all costs, it's pretty much impossible for anything to go wrong. With that assurance, Lu Chuan could finally relax. He then began to work on his future energy project. Meanwhile, when Wu Kui rushed back to the naval headquarters and entered the top-secret conference room, he found the experts arguing again. It was so chaotic, and he had no idea what they were fighting about. Meanwhile, when Wu Kui rushed back to the naval headquarters and entered the top-secret conference room, he found the experts arguing loudly again. He had no idea what they were arguing about. He quickly announced that his partnership was a success, and that the Chuan element would soon be secured. As soon as the experts heard this, they were instantly overjoyed. Chuan element, Lu Chuan, that's an element named after himself, right? He's truly incredible. The new generation always surpasses the old. And we, the old generation, are probably about to be washed up on the shore. Isn't that the truth? Although we don't know if the Chuan element can actually be synthesized yet. But if it can be, then based on our current theories, this controlled nuclear fusion technology is actually feasible. Even without the Chuan element, this data alone gives us a huge amount of inspiration. It could save us many years of trial and error. It's really hard to imagine how a 21-year-old kid who's never even been to college could be this brilliant. He couldn't have secretly evolved without telling the rest of us, could he? Their talk was getting more and more ridiculous. Wu Kui's mouth twitched, even though he also thought Lu Chuan was a monster. This whole secretly evolving thing was a bit too far-fetched. He paused for a moment, then raised his own question. Gentlemen, I have a question. If the Chuan element is successfully synthesized, and its properties are exactly as described in the data, then for the controlled nuclear fusion technology, I mean, how long would it take to build and utilize a reactor? Once it's successful, our nuclear-powered aircraft carrier's energy problem would be solved, right? The experts immediately fell silent. Many of their faces began to twitch. Some had twitching mouths, and others just rolled their eyes. Mr. Wu, are you being serious? You're our superior, but I have to ask, do you even understand what nuclear fusion is? Once it's successful, the carrier's energy problem? If we succeed, forget about just sailing on the sea, you could make it fly. It could fly for 3 to 5 years without ever having to worry about running out of power. Without ever needing to refuel. Are you kidding me? Forget about just sailing on the sea, you could make it fly. It could fly for 3 to 5 years without ever having to worry about running out of power. Without ever needing to refuel. Are you kidding me? You're talking about controlled nuclear fusion, and you're still worried about energy? Once we have controlled nuclear fusion, unless technology advances by several eras, and some special equipment becomes a super energy guzzler, otherwise we will never have to worry about energy problems again. They were still roasting old Wu. He wouldn't normally ask such a foolish question. Besides, you dared to use 200 billion in military funds for this collaboration. You can't possibly be unaware of the importance of nuclear fusion. After all, that 200 billion was meant for building aircraft carriers. To even dare to touch that money. And now you're telling me you don't have a clear grasp of what nuclear fusion is? Though it was an offhand remark, it struck a chord. Even though he was being teased, Wu Kui wasn't the least bit upset. In fact, he was overjoyed and exceptionally excited. He was just happy to hear how powerful nuclear fusion is. Then, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration. So you're saying, even if we made an aircraft carrier fly in the sky, we wouldn't have to worry about running out of power? That's right, the experts answered casually. Isn't that a given? Did you really think nuclear fusion was some kind of joke? Wu Kui suddenly asked, is there a possibility, and I'm just spitballing here, that we just scrap the old aircraft carrier plan? Whoa, that's skipping straight to the endgame. What I mean is, an aerospace carrier. The experts were stunned. An aerospace carrier? Are you serious? This isn't just skipping a step, this is leaping straight to the finish line. But you know what, I gotta say, I'm getting all worked up now. It actually seems feasible. The biggest problem has always been the power source. Once the energy issue is solved. Plus, nuclear fusion is basically clean energy. So even if the thrusters aren't that great, and the conversion efficiency is low, with a nearly infinite power supply, that problem doesn't really seem like a problem anymore. No, there's still an issue. The materials for the thrusters. The materials aren't an issue. That thing Lu Chuan came up with, this problem doesn't seem to be a problem either. No, there's still the issue of the thruster materials. The material isn't a problem. Not with the one Lu Chuan created. That new material is insane. I estimate that even for aerospace flight, with its strength, flying continuously for at least 3 to 5 months would be no problem. The key is that it's not expensive. If we really manage to build an aerospace carrier, then replacing some thruster components every 3 to 5 months should be acceptable, right? At this point, the experts were buzzing with ideas. Holy crap, this might actually be feasible. I have to admit, you've got a point. The more the experts talked, the more excited they became. Even the expert who was originally in charge of the aircraft carrier design had already grabbed a sheet of paper and started on a new design. Who cares if it'll work or not? We're just sitting around doing nothing anyway. The waiting is agonizing. We might as well get started on this. What if it actually works? And with that, they got busy. Meanwhile, Lu Chuan wasn't idle either. The next day, 2 personal security details came to report. Each detail had 6 people, all of them young female soldiers. But their professionalism was impeccable. They weren't gorgeous like movie stars or online celebrities, but they were still quite striking. With a little makeup, they were easily an 8 out of 10 or higher. True heroines who are every bit the equal of men. Their demeanor, in particular, was extraordinary, full of valor. "Commander, we're reporting for duty on orders." They saluted Lu Chuan. Their voices were in perfect unison. Lu Chuan scratched his head. "I'm not the commander." "Reporting, sir. We are under orders to protect the commander. You are the target, which makes you the chief." "All right, what are your names?" "Reporting, I am the leader of Squad 1, Long Kai. And I'm squad leader Ma Xiaoling." After the brief self-introductions, Lu Chuan said after a moment's thought, "From now on, you'll all wear civilian clothes. Military uniforms are too conspicuous." "Yes, chief." "Second, don't call me chief. I'm not used to it. Call me Mr. Lu. Your cover identity is my personal assistant." "Understood, Mr. Lu." And so, from that moment on, Lu Chuan and Ying Ruchu constantly had 6 people by their side. "Your cover identity is my personal assistant." "Understood, Mr. Lu." And so, from that moment on, Lu Chuan and Ying Ruchu constantly had 6 people by their side. The 2 squads took turns providing round-the-clock protection, to the point of being meticulously attentive. They followed him everywhere, serving as both his driver and his security detail. They would even have 2 people waiting outside the door when he went to the restroom. Even when he slept, 2 guards stood watch at his door, while 2 others rested in the adjacent rooms, waiting for their turn to stand guard. The shifts changed once a day. Lu Chuan found it hard to get used to, even though he felt completely safe. Besides, these elite female soldiers were quite a sight to behold. But thinking about the people always standing right outside the door meant he had to be a little quieter when, But he quickly got used to it. In the next 7 days, a mere 7 days, the materials and equipment needed to synthesize the element had all arrived. After all, in this world, most things can be solved with money, and any problem money can solve is not a real problem. Building a lab would take too long, so he just bought one outright for a hefty sum. If some materials and equipment needed to be imported, he just threw money at the problem. If brand new wasn't available, he'd buy used. The price I'm offering is even 10 to 20% higher than brand new. Are you selling or not? If not, I'll find someone else. If they still wouldn't sell, he'd just add more money, as long as it wasn't too ridiculous. Just buy it, simple as that. Now, inside the Future Energy No. 1 Physics Laboratory, 10 quantum colliders were arranged in a circle, and the main gate was sealed shut. Outside, Secretary Zhang and the 2 bodyguard squads stood guard. Inside the vast laboratory were only Lu Chuan and Yin Ruchu. "Maybe you should wait for me outside," Lu Chuan said, looking at Yin Ruchu. "This is going to take a while, and it's somewhat dangerous." "No, I'm staying with you." But Yin Ruchu just smiled and shook her head. "Don't worry, I won't get in your way. At least when you're tired. And it's somewhat dangerous." "No, I'm staying with you." But Yin Ruchu just smiled and shook her head. "Don't worry, I won't get in your way. At least when you're tired. I can massage your shoulders, rub your feet, and wipe your sweat. Won't that help? As for the danger, I'm not scared. I'll be wherever you are." Lu Chuan gave her an adoring smile. He pulled her into his arms and gave her a passionate kiss. Then he said, "In that case, you'd better be prepared. I might have to ignore you for a while, because what I'm about to do requires absolute focus. There can be no room for error." "There won't be, just watching you is enough." Then I'll be satisfied. Haven't you heard that saying? A serious man is the most attractive. Afterwards, Lu Chuan prepared a military ration. Half an hour later, the real work began. First, the 10 quantum colliders had to be connected in series so they could operate in sync. Lu Chuan began to work, dismantling the parts that needed to be dismantled. He completed the necessary modifications, series, and parallel connections step by step. With the knowledge he now possessed, there was actually a more advanced method for creating a quantum collider. Along with related technologies, if he were to build it, one quantum collider would have been enough, but it was too troublesome and too slow. There were many technologies that needed to be conquered and work that needed to be done. If he had to do everything himself, it would take at least twice as long. Other than that, there was only the current method, connecting the 10 most advanced quantum colliders on planet Molan in series. After activation, it could also reach the threshold for synthesizing transuranic elements. This work was so intense it blotted out the sun and moon. Lu Chuan was giving it his all. Usually, he was all laughs and jokes, very laid back. When he was free, he loved to cuddle with Yin Ruchu or play some fun games. Yin Ruchu also let this guy dote on her, letting him try out whatever he wanted. But now that it was time to be fully focused and put in the effort, Lu Chuan didn't hesitate in the slightest. He worked until the sun and moon lost their light, until the sky and earth turned dark, so busy he lost all track of time. But now that it was time to be fully focused and put in the effort, Lu Chuan didn't hesitate in the slightest. He worked until the sun and moon lost their light, until the sky and earth turned dark, so busy he lost all track of time. Meanwhile, the Department of Education was currently in a panic. The bit of a panic. The leaders were gathered together. You look at me, and I look at you. For a long time, no one spoke. What should we do? Say something. The director rolled his eyes. I called you all here to discuss a solution. Not for you to sit here being an eyesore. How on earth are we supposed to grade Lu Chuan's score? All the leaders of the education department lowered their heads, avoiding eye contact and pretending to be deep in thought. Not a peep. You're asking us? Who are we supposed to ask? It's frustrating just talking about this. And besides, there's never been a precedent like this before. Who knows what to do? Who could possibly get a perfect score multiple times? Lu Chuan did, especially with the existence of Gonggong 1, which directly caused Lu Chuan to be watched by almost the entire nation. Everyone is guessing what score Lu Chuan will get this time. Although the current rumor is that almost 99% of people think Lu Chuan can only get 748 points, the level of attention is still incredibly high. Especially since the college entrance exam scores will be announced in just 2 more days. Under normal circumstances, this wouldn't be a problem. Whatever the score is, it is. Even if last year's situation happened again, that would be fine. But the problem is, the damn score we have now is all wrong. The science comprehensive is 300 points. Right now, Lu Chuan's score is 0. It's not that Lu Chuan didn't get a single question right, it's that we don't even have his answer sheet. How are we supposed to handle this? We can't just give him a 0, can we? Knowing Lu Chuan's personality, he'd definitely lose his mind on us. Although we're not afraid of Lu Chuan. If he causes a scene, it will affect the reputation of our Department of Education. Not a perfect score? That's not right either. This is too absurd. How is that possible? Giving him a perfect score without even glancing at the answer sheet? Isn't this just nonsense? How about 298 points? Someone suggested this a moment later, but after a brief thought, the chief supervisor. Just give him a perfect score? Are you kidding me? How about 298 points? Someone suggested this a moment later, but after a brief thought, the chief supervisor still felt it wasn't appropriate. Based on Lu Chuan's previous performance and his scores in the other 3 subjects on this exam, 298 points should be fine. But this is the college entrance exam. We can't just assign a score based on the word should. Especially with the whole country watching. What if Lu Chuan insists he got a perfect score, and demands we show his answer sheet to everyone and let them all grade it? So that's no good either. Then what do you suggest we do? What a headache. Everyone was speechless, but the chief supervisor actually came up with a solution. How about this? Send 2 people over to the Navy to get the answer sheet back. If they can't bring it back, then they can verify the answers on the spot. If that really doesn't work, ask them what score he should get. Now that's actually an idea. But who's going to go? I'm certainly not going. Everyone looked down. Unfortunately, there are always 2 unlucky ones. A man and a woman, Zhou Shenyan and Lei Jun. Both over 50 years old, and they ended up being the unlucky ones. They miserably rushed to Shenzhen overnight and stood outside the Navy headquarters. Both of them were trembling a little. Old Lei, you go talk to them. Why don't you go? Ladies first, you know. Before long, the news was reported back to the conference room. When Wu Kui heard it, he looked at the experts from the education department. They want to take the answer sheet back. Instantly, the crowd was in an uproar. No, that's impossible. Are they kidding? This is Do they have any idea what level of secret this is? No, not a secret. This is top secret, we absolutely cannot let them take it. Well, we can't just give Lu Chuan a 0, can we? Wu Kui was speechless. How about this? You're all experts, right? Don't tell me you can't solve a college entrance exam paper. I'll have them send over a copy of the exam. You guys can grade the answers. Then you can give the score to them. The experts agreed, and so, a group of national experts started working on a college entrance exam. I'll have them send over a copy of the exam. You guys can grade the answers, then give the score to them. The experts agreed, and so, a group of national experts started working on a college entrance exam. Every one of them found it exceptionally novel. You know, this is making my own hands itch to try. Maybe I should take the college entrance exam next year. What for? To get crushed by Lu Chuan? It's done. Excluding the extension question, it's 298 points. But for the physics extension question, we unanimously agree he should get full marks. So that's 299 points. 299 points? Wu Kui nodded slightly. The biology extension question. Talked it over with my wife, and she thought the response was excellent. Luo Wen, you go and give our response to the people at the Department of Education. Lu Chuan got a perfect score on the science composite. A perfect score, perfect. When Zhou Shenyan and the other person received the reply, their heads were spinning. A perfect score, a perfect score. The words echoed in their heads all the way back. The two of them still couldn't quite process it. Is that even possible? Did I mishear that? Unless we both happened to hear the exact same wrong thing. They definitely said a perfect score. But about those two advanced problems. Back at the Department of Education, when they posted the military's response online, the group leaders were trembling all over. My scalp is tingling. Did they really say that? Are you sure you heard them correctly? If you did, then this is just bizarre. But how could anyone possibly get a perfect score on those two advanced problems? What on earth is going on? After a commotion, the director of the Department of Education said, suppressing his shock, the answer sheet. They won't give it to us. They won't even let us have a single glance at it. They also said it's top secret, Zhou Shenyan said with a wry smile. We never even saw the answer sheet to confirm the perfect score. They just asked us for a digital copy of the exam paper. Then, supposedly, their own internal experts solved the problems and compared them to the answers on the sheet. In the end, they gave the result, a perfect score. The director cursed. This is so damn messed up. How am I supposed to explain this to the public? Another commotion erupted. All eyes turned to him. The director cursed. This is so damn messed up. How am I supposed to explain this to the public? Another commotion erupted. Everyone looked at him. Director, what should we do? Yeah, director, this situation is getting a little. What's your call? Director, just tell us what to do. We'll do whatever you say. Damn it, the director wanted to scream. We're all sly old foxes here, so let's stop playing games. Every single one of you is more cunning than a monkey. Do you take me for an idiot? At a time like this, you want me to tell you what to do? If I actually make that call, and trouble comes up later, I'll be the one left taking the blame, won't I? Do you think I'm a fool? Look, I called everyone here so we could all discuss this together. What's all this? We'll do whatever you say, nonsense. That's not how this works. Let's figure this out together. However, my opinion is, the best solution is to go with what the military said, a perfect score. Time passed. Finally, the day to check the college entrance exam scores arrived. Countless students, parents, and netizens were watching closely. Even a lot of gamblers were watching. It's just that, right now, more than half of these gamblers wanted to cry. Some even felt like jumping off a rooftop. In the gamblers group chat, everyone was on edge. Sigh, the results are coming out any minute now. I'm already on the rooftop of the 18th floor. The view is pretty nice. It's just a bit windy and cold. The 18th floor isn't even that high. I'm on the 52nd floor. Are you guys for real? I'm on the 3rd floor. My house back home is only 3 stories high. Damn it, I bet 30 million that Lu Chuan would get a perfect score, and then this year they give him these bullshit questions. I'd kill for that 30 million the guy upstairs is talking about. But a small group of gamblers were overjoyed. How naive of you. Do you really think getting a perfect score is that easy? Even though he's already gotten it 3 times in a row and even created the Gonggong number 1 before. He became a 10 billionaire overnight, but the people from the relevant departments, they'd never let him get another perfect score. That's why I told you all from the start not to bet on a perfect score. But you wouldn't listen. That's right, you weren't thinking clearly. But the people from the relevant departments, they'd never let him get another perfect score. That's why I told you all from the start not to bet on a perfect score, but you wouldn't listen. That's right, you weren't thinking clearly. You can't blame anyone else. As they were chatting, netizens were also keeping an eye on the scores. Finally, the time came. Besides the students checking their own scores, almost everyone else was looking at the rankings the second they were released. And then, what the hell? A perfect score? Are you serious? I must be cursed or something. I feel like I'm in a dream. A dream within a dream, and I'm dreaming that Lu Chuan got a perfect score. Phew, honey, quick, slap me, I must be dreaming. Amidst the shock and disbelief, the netizens gradually regained their senses. A perfect score? That's impossible. In any previous year's college entrance exam, I could believe someone getting a perfect score, but this year? I absolutely don't f***ing believe it. Do you people even know what cancer is? Do you know what new energy is? It's not just about building a battery and charging it up. At the very least, you'd have to solve the pollution problem of nuclear fission. Or even create controllable nuclear fusion. And someone got a perfect score on that? You think I believe that? Well, I don't. This score has absolutely no credibility. Even though I might get a letter from a lawyer for this. I still have to say it, it's rigged. No one could have gotten a perfect score on this exam. No one. The issue quickly blew up. Although a lot of people were paying attention to this matter before, it was still within a reasonable scope. But now, it's like a level 18 typhoon, instantly sweeping across the entire internet. Even the offline world was completely overwhelmed. Except for some remote mountainous areas with few people, and not many young people, it became the topic of conversation almost everywhere. This is just too ridiculous. Except for places with not many young people, it became the topic of conversation almost everywhere. This is just too ridiculous. It was even more shocking than when everyone found out this year's exam questions were about curing cancer and nuclear fusion. Having questions like that is definitely surprising. But holy crap, compared to someone actually getting a perfect score, the shock of the questions is nothing. A perfect score on cancer and controllable nuclear fusion? Do you believe it? I sure don't. Almost everyone said they didn't believe it. Even the few netizens who supported Lu Chuan were trembling in fear at this moment, not daring to make a sound. The more educated a person was, the more absurd they found it, and the less likely they were to believe it. Because this is fundamentally impossible. Instantly, talk of an inside job, falsified results, and the education department being a mess. That Lu Chuan has powerful connections that they've thrown all shame away. Comments like these began to roar online. People were saying all sorts of things. Nobody was willing to believe it was real. They strongly suspected it was rigged.